Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Video Game Book Club podcast, working title, asterisk. And I am your host, Ian, and I'm joined here by Brian. How you doing today, Brian?
I'm doing all right.
And Ryan, how about you?
Doing good. Got up with the can of Coke, ready to tackle the day, and yeah, I'm here.
I also got Pixel here with me, so he'll join in whenever he wants.
Pixel, co-host.
Pixel is my cat, for anyone who doesn't know that. And here we are, guys. Last episode, and we made it.
We did it. We did it.
I mean, we'll get into it maybe near the end. Might not be the last episode. I have an idea. We'll see. We'll talk about it at the end. So.
Sure.
But,
I opened the extras menu.
Oh yeah, you know
deleted scenes, director's cut.
Alrighty. So last time we got, let's see, where do we? No, he's co-hosting right now. He's swatting at my mic right now.
I want to play the catnip game.
Yeah. Managing audio director, Pixel.
Making sure that the
official title.
Copious amounts of pets are applied throughout podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So last time we ended, we defeated Salazar finally, and then we found, who was it, Ada at the speedboat, and it ended with us getting on the speedboat off on our way to the island that was mentioned. So, of course, we start off with Leon and Ada on the speedboat as they make their way towards the aforementioned island that Salazar had mentioned previously. At one point, Leon looks at Ada as if he's about to say something, but Ada makes like a sharp turn to interrupt him. It's very like on purpose too. You can see her like look at him and know that he's about to say something, and she makes like a sharp turn to purposely interrupt him because she's like, I ain't about that shit. Then she pulls alongside a cliff and grapples onto the edge. She then tells Leon that she has some things to take care of, and she then lifts off with her grapple, causing the boat to steer out of control. Then Leon has to regain it, crashing into the side of the cliff, and then breathes a sigh of relief and scoffs, Women, am I right? Am I right, guys? Am I right?
Hoes driving us into the side
All
of
these
island
damn broads
with their grapple hooks.
And their red dresses.
I mean, if there's a character who seems visibly unequipped to deal with a zombie apocalypse, it's the girl with the, hip high slit red dress.
Yeah.
And the stilettos, yeah.
Uh-oh, what did I do? Oh, there we go. Okay. I made my screen go black for some reason. Let's see.
Editing.
So once on the island, Leon talks to once on the island, Leland talks to Sadler on a communicator, and they talk about Salazar's death. Salazar says Leon must be disillusioned with overconfidence because he killed his small-time subordinate. Leon then replies, Sadler, you're small time.
Yes, this is my favorite line in this whole game, easily. You are small time. It's so dumb, but I love it.
I know.
It's like, I couldn't think of a response, but fuck it, I got this for you.
But
I love it.
Bless the person who made this fucking fan art.
Yeah.
Sadler then just kind of laughs it off and then says, "Writhe in my cage of torment, my friend," which is pretty funny. Leon makes his way towards a compound where he comes across some new enemies on the island. So just like, we come across the Ganados from the village, then we come across the cultists, and now since we're on the island, we come across even more new enemies, which is pretty cool. Keeps the experience a bit more fresh, So these enemies are more like, they're wearing a lot more like modern looking clothing, like jeans, jackets, jumpsuits, even gas masks. The gas mask dudes fucking have barbed wire wrap around their head for some fucking reason.
Yeah, this is the part where the game starts going absolutely.
Oh, dude, it starts going
insane.
absolutely bonkers.
I think I played. So this is 5-1. I played this about 2 weeks ago, right after 4-4.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, wow, what is happening? Like, you get the crazy, like, fucking Predator music as you're
Yeah.
mowing down all these dudes.
Yeah. That's
It's
a perfect description because the music change and stuff. Yeah, it does sound like Predator music.
it's an American action movie at this point. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
crazy.
it was such a weird tonal shift, but I think that tone shift is set up by the Salazar fight of all things.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose. Yeah.
Of like the hey, this story is going off the rails, and by off the rails I mean the rails are in space. Like
Yeah.
it's just we're just gonna go nuts here. We're gonna
Here's
go full Capcom.
Salazar coming out of a butthole that you have
But
to
you know
shoot.
what? I bet this is Kamiya. I bet this is Hideki Kamiya
It
being
might
like,
be.
and what if they had barbed wire on their heads?
Yeah.
And then those guys are still using morning stars, and that guy, he's got an RPG. And what if this guy was in like an electrician's like mechanic, like one piece jumpsuit for no reason, and those guys have metal plates in their heads, and it just like
Yeah. It's just like
There's a lot going on here.
trying to think of the fiction of like standing in these levels with this cast of characters. All right, if I'm not here, what does this place look like?
mhm.
And normal, how is it running? The fiction of the world, what does it look like? And it must be bonkers, right? Because when I'm running, then this is bearing the lead a little bit. When I was running around in the labs, I pictured Las Plagas zombie scientists, and like
Mhm.
with the whole thing, like no dejes que los escapas, like all like that. Those people like
wow.
measuring stuff, petri dishes,
Uh-huh.
beakers, doing the science stuff, and I
And
I was
that's kinda
infinitely
kind
entertained.
of what you get.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
this-
you
they're
just
wearing
don't
their lab
particularly
robes,
run across any
glasses.
scientists per se, but
yeah, which I think is the thing that was missing, but I'm going to take that to assume that if before 15 minutes before Leon got here, they all took off their lab coats. They changed their punch in from scientist to goon, and they
Murderous
put on the helmets
fiend.
and they got the
they
flaming
job
crossbows.
they job transferred.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah, they
job
do have fucking
transferred.
flaming crossbows, don't they? God damn.
Yeah.
Bringing it back a little bit though, when you
Yeah,
crash
sorry.
land on this island, what Leon and Nathan Drake have in common is that they crash land on an island, and the very beginning of this level where you're walking around through the different routes to get to the main opening where these guys are, that like shift and the art direction reminded me a lot of Uncharted 4 when Nathan Drake lands on the island where he's by himself. I mean, the circumstances are much different, but it reminded me of that, and I thought that was really neat.
Oh, nice. I never got around to beating Uncharted 4, unfortunately. I need to.
Oh, you should.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
really
I
good.
know. It
pretty
was so
long.
good from what I played.
It is very good. Nolan North and Troy Baker just having a good time
Mm-hmm.
playing off of each other is
Yeah.
very. The writing in Uncharted 4 is very, very
A
good.
buddy action movie.
It's a buddy action movie.
You meet these guys in a compound, like kind of like a bigger, kind of like another set piece area where you just fight off some enemies. In this area, you also come across your first Gatling gun, Magini. Oh yeah, here's a closer like look up of the characters because the other picture is kind of small. But this guy,
Yeah, these guys.
oh man, dude, these things take so much ammo to kill on professional. It was ridiculous.
These guys are really spooky, but I don't think I ever remember dying to one of them.
Mhm.
They take up a lot of hits.
Yeah.
But
I
I don't
didn't-
remember getting killed by them.
Yeah, I didn't die to one particularly this playthrough, but because when the first one came up, I just pulled up my rifle and kept shooting him in the head. It took a whopping 9 headshots with my fucking rifle to kill him.
Now, look at this image.
It takes 7 on normal.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's not like much difference. Yeah, they're
Look at
they're
this
bullet
PNG real quick.
Mhm.
And divorced from Resident Evil 4. Do you think this is in Resident Evil 4? This looks like it could be in Mercenaries for all we know.
It looks like it could be Mercenaries. It looks like it could be Resident Evil 5.
Yeah, I
Looks
was
like
looking
yeah.
at this. I was looking at
looks like
this.
Far Cry 2, maybe.
Yeah, it could totally be that.
I was looking at this and was kind of like, this kind of looks like a higher res version of that thing, but
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it
so
is.
I don't know if it's like from a mod or something. Who knows? But I was like, it was the biggest picture I could find of him because the
It's
other
a
pictures were like small.
it's a good looking picture. I'm just saying that the
Yeah,
like
yeah.
at this point the direction of what we're fighting against has changed significantly.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Uh, you keep fighting through this area. You pass a door by reflecting a laser off of some mirrors to get through a door and all that. Then once you pass through there, you fight some more enemies like on a higher ledge. There's a I'm trying to remember this exact area. It's just another
Laser
encounter.
puzzle.
Yeah, it's right after it. Then there's just another encounter. You fight some more enemies.
Uh,
Nothing special. Later you head into kind of like a concrete bunker area. It seems like almost like a fallout shelter. There's like canned food stashed everywhere. There's like
right.
rotting meat hanging everywhere. And then
That juicy steak.
yeah, I know. I'm glad I found this one. It's kind of a funny little thing. Uh, just from here, directly to the left of this picture, you come across a a ganado that bursts out of a fucking oven and tries to kill you.
Which was a bold move, roasting himself alive to try to get 1/8 of your health bar.
I do you have to encounter this guy? Because I don't specifically remember him.
Yeah, you have to. You run right across
Okay.
Yeah,
this thing.
it's like a when you try to move past the locker he's in, it explodes and he jumps out at you. So if there's a way to sneak past it, I don't know.
I don't
He
think
got
there
me.
is.
He got me the first time mainly because the game has never done this.
Yeah.
And I don't remember seeing any warning. Like you can't see like
No,
feet
you
in the
can't.
locker, like in a crack in the like. I don't remember seeing any visual indicator
Hmm.
that there's a zombie that's gonna explode and run at you.
It's 100% like a jump scare.
Yeah,
There's a lot of things I forgot to mention. Like these last few chapters of this game have some of my favorite moments in the entire game. So I'm really excited to talk about all these chapters.
Mhm.
And the reason why I bring that up is you kind of mentioned it, Brian. They kind of like nothing really happens in this game that does that. So you're not expecting it. And by the end of the
yeah.
game, you're like, oh, this game doesn't really have jump scares. And then a jump scare happens. So I feel like it's a pretty well placed jump scare. And
Yeah,
also, when
it
this.
was pretty effective, and I don't remember it taking too much of my health.
Mhm.
So I felt like it was the designers like just having fun
Yeah, they're having a
rather
giggle.
than
Mhm.
than trying to take a bunch of your resources or something.
Yeah.
Like because whenever I lost a bunch of health or I got through an encounter that took way too much ammo, I would always think, okay, what are the designers telling me that I should be doing, right? What is this a punishment for? And this moment was just no, they think it's funny.
Mhm.
There's no punishment, nothing.
Yeah.
That's because it's the game zombie, it's a little bit of health, but that was it. So it's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay. I'm like, that was funny. I like it.
Feel bad that I can't specifically remember it, but there are so many other good parts in this chapter that
Mhm.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because we talked about how like these last chapters are very like just out there and crazy and full blown action movie, but it's also the chapters where you come across like the creepiest shit. Of course, we'll talk about that,
Mhm.
Mhm.
which is kind of interesting. So that's why like I really like the village area in this game, like the beginning, and then the castle area, of course, is cool. But then this area, I kind of forgot like how much like of the island I really liked.
I I I really like this part. But also in the last frame, there's a JPEG. There's like a flat, it's like a square JPEG of garlic hanging next to the stove,
Oh
and
yeah,
I like, and I and there was a little bit of thought put into, do they eat? What do they eat? And
they must.
garbage.
Yeah, they basically just
They
eat garbage. rotting
Trash.
meat, and then you can find a table full of like open cans and like just bloody meat, and you're kind of like, oh, okay.
Well, I guess we found out where the cows from the village were going.
Mm-hmm. So make your way
Right.
further into the bunker, and then after like, heading through a door, you can actually start to hear Ashley's cries for help in the distance. In this area, you
She's not
also
quiet.
uh,
She's fucking
no,
banging on the door.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
loud as fuck. She is giving these guards a run for their money. Uh, in this area, this is also where you come across very large enemies with armor and spikes all over them. They pretty much look like Raider fans.
Oof.
That's dude. What even when I played this as a kid, I saw this. I was like, those look like that. It's a Raider fan.
Yeah, a little bit of Fallout 3. The
No.
goddamn spikes everywhere.
No, yeah, I'm talking about the fucking football team.
Oh, you're talking about Los Angeles.
Yeah, the
That's
football
true.
team, the Oakland Raiders. That's
Oh, I
what.
see it.
That's how they like
Yeah.
dress up.
Yeah,
And
you got
like
the
spikes
black
and
and silver.
gray and metal. and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
and-
it's awesome. So Leon finds a security camera monitor and finds Ashley banging on a door before being thrown to the ground by Ganado. They realize someone's watching them on the camera, then they shut them off, which I don't know how they would realize. I mean, there's a red blinking light on the camera, but
Yeah,
that doesn't
but it's
exactly
like,
mean someone's
how
watching
did
them.
It just means the camera's on and the tape is running.
Yeah,
But I think they read the script.
yeah.
So they know Leon's watching.
I mean, it's not like Leon went up and turned on the monitor. It was already just
No,
on.
it
so-
was
Oh, it's
already
already
on.
there.
It was just running.
Leon then calls them amateurs, which I'm like, okay.
Amateurs.
And then further down, you come across a door that is.
Bud, you were a police officer for like 2 fucking days. This is like your first assignment at the CIA. All right, bud. You showed up with a pistol, a knife, and a first aid spray. Like that's
sweet
the
jacket.
things that you came, and you lost the jacket.
That's all I need, baby. That's all I need.
So
It's
further
fine. We'll pick up some large fish on the way.
later on, you come across a door that's opening and closing sporadically, and it's like enemies throwing dynamite out of him, and it's like
That was the
very.
most frustrating shit.
Dude, it's so annoying.
Dynamite, Christ. Oh, that's right. That one part,
Yeah.
where they throw the dynamite and the door closes. You're like, okay, sick.
And then but sometimes I would shoot the dynamite out of the air as they throw it, and nothing would happen. They wouldn't even get damaged by it. And I was like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah, the
even
collision isn't
after-
very great.
After you kill those two, like it keeps opening and closing. Then there's 3 more dudes that have crossbows, and they all start shooting at you. So
Yeah.
you
That's
you
too
take care of
relevant,
them. The door stays open. You go through. You find the bastard that was opening and closing the fucking shutter, and just murder his ass. And then after that, you end up in a medical facility, and this is kind of like where the music just starts becoming very dark and like ominous, and you're like, oh great, now what's happening? So you make your way through the operating rooms, and you find, let's just say, some abnormal looking things on some of the operating tables. One of them is a large gray looking body, and another one looks like almost as if like a spider plaga was like attacking someone and then frozen in place. But I don't know. Obviously there's some gnarly ass fucking experiments going on here.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I remember this is just one of those moments in the game where I was like, what the fuck? Like it's like kind of like one of the more like, I guess you could say, fucked up scenes in the
Gruesome.
yeah, and you're
Yes.
like, what is going on? So
That's because we're playing a Resident Evil game, so like we're gonna end up in a lab somewhere at some point.
Mm-hmm.
In this room, you can also find another memo by Luis, and it talks about an enemy called the Regenerators. And so you're kind of like, ooh, what are those? And then you find out soon enough because you grab a freezer card in there, and once you grab the card, you hear a bang, and it comes from the direction of the operating room where you saw that big gray body just laying there. And so whether you go through the door first or it comes through the door, you finally get to see it, and it's the Regenerator. This is my favorite part of the entire game, is coming across these guys, because this is like actual true to kind of nature Resident Evil horror that I love. And I don't know, their breathing is creepy as fuck, and you know when one of these is in the room, because anytime you enter a room, you can hear their breathing like somewhere
Yeah.
in the room, but you just don't know where they are.
But that's
There's an
also
audio
to
cue as well.
yeah, that's to warn you so that they never surprise you,
Yeah.
because this enemy has the potential to take up so many resources.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Big Daddy. You should always see it coming, because fighting them, you should never initiate that fight before you're ready, and that's up to you. But the first one is the fight that kind of picks you, and I don't think any of them will ever really surprise you, even when you jump down into the garbage compactor or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna get to that part, but this enemy, this part of the game is where Resident Evil 4 is the hardest,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
and I think I like it. It works.
I think I got to this guy and I saw he was called the Regenerator.
Mhm.
I started shooting him and I saw like the particle effect that happens when you shoot these guys is like this weird like stitching, and I was like, okay, my guns have no effect. I'm going to assume this is an amnesia character and that I am effectively disarmed for this part. And it was good. I legitimately felt like a little terrored
Yeah.
from this part.
Did you ever
I felt that.
Did you guys ever get grabbed by them?
No, I don't
Oh,
think
really?
so.
I sort of did. Okay, so this guy popped up on the screen, and I just had a flashback to Dead Space 1. And I'm like, okay, fucking hammered in my brain. Go for the limbs, Isaac. You have to go for the limbs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. And I just put the striker in my hands and I hit him in the knee with a baseball bat. And he went down. And I'm like, okay, same but different. And then I started running past him as he hit the floor, and he immediately leaps up and bites me.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm like, oh my god, you piece of shit. And
Yeah.
he took like half my health bar.
Uh-huh.
And then from then on, kneecapping them was a coin flip, because half the time they would complete the falling down animation and then immediately buffer the no knees dolphin dive up into the air
Yeah.
to bite you.
Yeah.
From that moment on, I was never confident in what was going to happen. And I think I ended up I got through this part, and then I got to the next part where there was a spiky one.
Yeah.
And I died to it because I didn't understand how to get the key off of its body. We're gonna get to that part when we get to that part, but I died, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm good, and I just stopped playing for the night. But that after that, when I went through it the second time, I would blow off his head, then blow off his knee, and then run past him, because they don't grab you if they don't have jaws.
I noticed that these dudes do have stretchy arms.
Yes.
Which I thought was a little weird. It's like, hi.
Yeah. If you're at like a certain distance, they'll extend both of their arms and grab you and pull you towards them. And
I don't think I ever got grabbed, but
yeah,
I was
and, like, bite
very
the shit out of
weirded
you.
out. That was the one thing I
So-
didn't expect from these guys.
No, yeah. So what Brian was talking about that you might not have seen, Ryan, is you can blow their legs off, right? And so first they'll start like just slithering like a snake across the ground, but then they
Oh.
literally start like hopping. They like jump up into the air by flopping their body hard onto the ground, and they leap like, it almost seems like 4 feet in the air, and they leap forward. And so
Jesus.
and it's
And
terrifying.
the tracking on that animation is immaculate.
Yes. And so
I think I picked the right option in not trying to fight it at all. I just
Yeah.
ran
So
away.
like so like you kind of learn to do this in Resident Evil 2, where you pop people in the head or in the knee just to stagger them long enough
to get around
that
them. Yeah.
to recovering from that animation is just to get by him, right? You're not trying to kill him, you're just trying to get by him. You don't want to sink too many resources, and that is a way to deal with these guys. And thinking about it like that from the beginning of the game, if I were to play this game again, I would kill way fewer enemies because I would understand I don't need to. Straight up, do not need to kill that many enemies. I think I ended the game with 888 kills, which was a weird number, but
I wish I had taken a shot at that last screen.
I was going to, yeah, but I forgot.
But when I got through this part, I think is when that finally clicked of, wait a second, I didn't need to kill any of them. Or I probably didn't need to kill any of them. That's probably how speedrunners do it, is if the enemy doesn't need to die to unlock the scene transition condition, they probably do not even spend the bullets.
So moving on, you come across, let's see, you go into a freezer, actually, because that's where you got the key card from. You get the key card to the freezer. So you go in there, and you see a lot of abominations just hung up inside of their other experiments that are frozen in place. Here you can like reprint the key card that you have to make it give you access to the garbage disposal area, because if you went to that door before, it is locked. You can't go to it. Also, on your way here to the freezer, you're in this area previously already, but now there are 2 more regenerators in the area. And I was going to say this, but when you hear the regenerators breathing anytime you enter an area, it doesn't matter how far away they are. The breathing sounds exactly the same. It doesn't have like distance. It's just the exact same volume.
It doesn't muffle through walls or anything.
Exactly.
You're just, so if you can hear it, it's the same sound.
So you do kind of get surprised by one of these guys, because you hear one and you think, oh, maybe I can hear a second one.
Okay.
But you run through a hallway, and the second you turn a corner to the left, there's one just standing there right there. And so that one does kind of surprise you, because, like I said, you can't tell how far away you are from these things.
Yeah. So when I got into the freezer, one of the ones at the end is textured slightly differently.
Yeah, and so you knew, huh?
And when I saw it, I was just like, God fucking okay. Okay. I'm gonna explore this room completely, and then we're gonna do this.
Yeah, and so you reprint the key card, you turn down the temperature in the area, and that allows you to get to a cabinet that opens up, and you get a thermal scope.
Yeah.
And then
why were they keeping the thermal scope in the freezer?
Yeah, I don't know. They wanted to cool it off. I have no fucking clue, man.
So then
it was hot off the grill. It's fresh off the grill.
That's a running joke.
The second you grab it, then there's a cutscene. The door locks to the freezer, and then the slightly more textured one falls to the ground and gets up all creepily like a worm without using its arms. Yeah. And then you have to fight it.
This is the designers leaning into the microphone and saying, "All right, bud, quiz time. Do you know how these enemies work?"
Yep. And so, did you kill them the right way?
No. I literally just blew his legs off. And when he got up, I blew his legs off. And when he got up, I blew his legs off. And then I left when the door unlocked, because when I picked up an infrared scope with a rifle in my inventory, my lizard brain couldn't connect 4.
No, dude.
And I literally did not understand what I was supposed to do with it. Like, literally, I don't think I registered what I actually picked up. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. It's just an item. I'm gonna use the key for the lock and whatever to get through. I'm just gonna keep going. And then when I got to the spiky one,
you're like, probably still just thinking. You grab the scope. You're just thinking of that regenerator coming to life. That's all you're thinking about.
Yeah, like so I literally I got the scope, and I just juggled this dude until the door unlocked, and then I ran past the other guy, blew his skull off and then his leg off, and then I walked past him. And then when I was fighting the spiky dude, I was like, because this is my second time through this area, all right, spiky dude's coming up. Blowing him apart did nothing. Shooting his limbs off did nothing. Being really careful and shooting the key card off of his skin belt, his hip, didn't work. And I'm like, all right, let's as we're leaving there before he spawns, let's think really, really carefully. And then I open up the suitcase and there's rifle ammo. I'm like, all right, rifle ammo, cool. And then I open up a locker, there's rifle ammo. All right, rifle ammo, cool. I break a barrel. All right, rifle ammo. Why is it giving me so much rifle?
They're really just beating you over the head with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm like, and then I took out the
That's game
rifle.
design for you.
Yeah.
Yep. It sure is.
We're playing the game, guys. And
I got to that cabinet and I saw what came out and I was like, wow, that is the dumbest looking key card I've ever seen. So I go to my inventory and I read the description. It says add-on for the rifle. It's like, oh,
yeah, it says
now I
fit,
see.
it says it fits onto any 22 rifle. And I'm like, ah. and I took out the rifle and it wasn't on it originally. Because when you get the stock for the Red 9, it automatically equips it whenever you equip the Red 9. So I just, combine, and it played the noise and it said equipped, and I'm like, and the regenerators weren't that much of a problem after that.
Yeah.
You shoot the red things.
Yeah, the
they
little
blow
plagas,
up.
and then they just explode.
Yeah, they sure do.
And I know on professional difficulty, they have like 1 or 2 more plagas to shoot off of, I believe. And I believe for you guys, though, on normal, there's still a plaga on their back, right?
There can be, not always.
So sometimes the amount of damage that I've dealt by the time I popped, because I will occasionally miss, which feels bad with the with the rifle, but I will occasionally miss. And hitting the 4th one will pop him, and sometimes I need to pop 4 of them, shotgun, blow off his leg so he'll lie down on the floor, and then rifle, shoot the one on his back, and then he explodes. So it was kind of inconsistent, but not in a way that was they already take a decent amount of ammo. It would have been nice, I think, if the infrared scope was like a set of goggles that you can use with any weapon, rather than, hey, if you don't have the rifle specifically, you can't deal with these guys. But
yeah, that is true.
You can,
but that's only,
I think, if as long as you just keep blasting them in the chest with shotgun, do a decent amount of damage, eventually they will explode. Because I think technically even if you can't see the things, you do hit them. But then again, they don't get like, because every time you shoot a plug off, they'll get that like animation where their body kind of like inflates a little bit.
They'll but I didn't notice them doing any of those animations.
Yeah, they don't.
When I wasn't hitting them with the scope.
So it might not. I don't know. But I just know you can just
basically
dump a bunch of ammo into them. They do die eventually, I think.
Okay, because it's good. It's good to have multiple solutions to that problem that aren't, hey, if you don't have a rifle, this is going to take all of your pistol and shotgun ammo.
Yeah, exactly. So finally, after dealing with all these guys, you end up at the disposal site.
These assholes.
Yeah. You make your way to the disposal site, basically, and from there you can actually use a crane to drop down enemies into the chute, which is kind of funny. They kind of just stand there and let you do it to them. They don't even try to run away, which is kind of funny. But later on, then you find Ashley behind a door that's guarded by some guards, but then it's a lock, so you can't get in there. So you go across to another room, and this is where you come across the other regenerator that has spikes that you mentioned. And these guys, typically, they have, I guess you could say, more plagas to shoot off. They take more damage. They do more damage. And they're also known as Iron Maidens. That's their, like, name, basically.
Right, yeah. Whenever you shoot these guys, they do the Kirby thing where they shoot out a bunch of spikes.
Yeah,
so you're anywhere near them.
Yeah.
So that is so that you can't run past them when they're on the ground. So basically, this is a version of the regenerator that you have to deal with completely. If the room with the regenerator in it and the locked door that was on a timer, if that was a quiz, fighting this enemy is a test. It's like, hey, you need to understand, like, do you know how to fight these guys? Because if you don't, this guy's going to kill you every time. And if a first time player was super conservative and didn't end up with a rifle, I feel like you should have found a rifle in this section somewhere to understand, hey, the devs want you to have a rifle. You're going to need a rifle.
Yeah.
Have a rifle. and that didn't happen. But there's also a decent amount of this game that isn't going to super explain itself to you, and you're expected to fuck around and find out. But luckily enough, I had a rifle, so it went through it as expected. But these guys are super cool in that they're like a harder version of a puzzle enemy. But not only do they take more resources, the test itself, what they are testing, the knowledge they're relying on, the strategy they're relying on, and the skill of execution they're relying on, all of those barriers are amped up as well.
I was a little bit AFK there. I was talking to my mom about taxes for a hot second, but I ended up using at least a couple incendiary grenades on a few of these guys because those really help. They tend to stun them, and the incendiary grenades always do a good amount of damage.
Doesn't it, like, if you throw a grenade at them or an incendiary, they do like a really weird animation where their body like bends in half in like pain or some shit? It's really weird.
They'll recoil, yeah. They'll kind of curl up and they'll shoot their spikes out.
Yeah, it's pretty like weird.
As long as you aren't near them, it's fine. I wanted to see if I could kill them. The plagas on them with the flash grenade didn't seem to really work.
No, it doesn't. There's a pretty funny death animation with these guys where the regenerators, you know, they have those stretchy arms. They can like grab you from a distance and pull you in. And this one, like the Iron Maidens, they grab you and pull you in, and then their spikes all come out, and he impales you on himself. And the death screen is just Leon just hanging there, like just dead on the thing. He doesn't even fall off.
Gross.
He just stays. He just stays.
He's
there.
just pinned. Yeah,
he's pinned on him. It's really funny. So this particular one, the first one you come across, has the key card to actually sell for some fucking reason. Video game, I guess. Optionally,
like I think it might have been funny if like the scientist's body was like impaled on him or something, or like he had like an arm that was holding the key card pinned to like his back or something.
I mean,
but
like you
video
can
game
come
is
up with
just
something.
gonna video game.
Yeah, you can come up with something because they are experiments and they were originally humans. So the human who had it before could have just had one. So
this is past the point where the game is just like, hey, we're just gonna game from now on, right?
Yeah.
We went through the mine that had the fossilized parasites that are still alive, and you shoved a stick of dynamite into a bunch of rocks, and it exploded, and there were two giants in a cave full of lava with a grate in the floor. Okay, we're just gonna shake hands on this, right? We're just gonna game from now on, right? We're gonna stop coming up with diegetic. Oh, this makes sense. Oh, that makes sense. No, we're just gonna find shit on the ground.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
It's like the beginning of Doom, where Hayden's trying to explain, you know, neatly and succinctly everything that happened and everything
and
Doom
you
guy
just throw the monitor
needs to do, and Doom guy just like throws the monitor across the room, and you hear it break and shatter, and then you find a fucking shotgun like that.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
As you continue forward, you can venture a bit farther forward after you get the key card, and you can optionally make your way outside, go up to a radio tower, and Leon tries to call for backup on your radio tower, but no one's on the other line to receive his calls, and that's basically it. There's nothing really special about it. It's just an optional little thing you can do. Then you make your way back to Ashley Cell and free her, and that finally ends chapter 5-1. Some of the chapters some of the chapters in this one are very long. This next one isn't too long though. So 5-2.
But there's a lot of stuff happening in the chapters, so it doesn't drag on.
Oh yeah, no.
In the same way that I feel like the castle dragged on a bit.
Once we finally have Ashley in tow, a paper airplane flies through her window with a lipstick stain on it. It's merely just Ada telling you that you can escape through the waste disposal dump. So on your way you go to the disposal shaft. But of course on the way there you have to fight a lot of ganados. You get ambushed a bunch here, and like doors close on you and get ambushed from behind, a bunch of other stuff like that. So then you finally make your way to the disposal chute, and Ashley basically almost refuses to jump down, and she says no way, and then Leon grabs her wrist saying way, and it jumps off.
Yeah.
I think he says yes way.
No, he just says
yes way.
No, he just goes way.
Way.
And then jumps off.
When they land, Leon says some joke about how he knew she would be fine if she landed on her butt, but before before Ashley can interject, she realized she landed on
Before
something
that joke
slimy.
Ashley, you got a dump truck ass. You'll be fine.
Oh my
She really
god.
doesn't, though. I mean, come on.
Oh my
I
god.
mean, of the characters in the game, I think it's her. I think she's got it.
Yeah, I guess you could say. Uh,
Not that she's got a whole lot of
yeah, I know.
competition out here.
Yeah,
you know?
like you said, before that joke can settle in for us to react and for Ashley to interject, she realizes she landed on something slimy, and then we know it to be an Iron Maiden that she landed on.
and also spiky. And I was expecting to leave that cutscene and she would have a little bit of new damage on her or something like that.
Well, it's not like she landed her whole body on it. It's just like her hand was on it.
Well, yeah. Good point.
So the Iron
I
Maiden,
cut my hand. I cannot go on.
the Iron Maiden
Yeah.
does wake up, and you just got to take care of it. Then there's another regenerator in the vicinity. I believe it's a normal one. So you just, as you make your way through the garbage disposal, just take care of them.
Yeah, it's at the end of the garbage disposal like little area.
The next room leads into an open area with a lava pit in the middle. Here, Leon must fight off Ganados and then operate a crane to bash through some rubble that's blocking a door.
Oh, this place.
Yeah.
I died here once.
Yeah, I died a couple times just because like I kept worrying about Ashley, kept getting like hit and shit. And I was low on ammo, and so usually what I do in this area, I headshot a lot of the dudes around the lava pit and then kick them into the lava pit, so it takes care of them really easily. But I was really low on ammo, so I wanted to make sure I actually killed the dudes and in hopes of getting more ammo to pick up. So this area was kind of a little like difficult for me. But
I think it's really funny how the game gives you the option of who do you want to operate the crane?
yeah.
Leon or Ashley? It's like, okay, I'm sorry. Does Ashley have the fucking guns that Leon does? No. Don't try to.
I think that is for people who want to try to do the room with minimum combat. I think you can. So the first time you go through the room, the dudes spawn on the left, and after a second, dudes drop down on the right. But I think if you're fast enough, you can get to the other side of the room before the second group spawns. And I think what they were thinking with that is you can tell Ashley to operate the crane while you're juggling all the other enemies, even though kind of randomly, periodically, dudes will peel off to go harass her.
Yeah.
So I was also kind of confused when that happened of like, this room is not big enough and they have easy access both sides of the booth. I would never throw Ashley into the booth and just, hey, handle that, by the way. Like that's not how I'm going to handle that room. But I think that's what they were thinking.
I think this is probably like the biggest piece of evidence to suggest that playing as Ashley was dummied out. Because she still has that suplex that was in the GameCube version of the game.
Yeah.
And
I think,
this kind of suggests that she would have had an arsenal or something, because she has an inventory.
I think that's a leftover artifact of the section you play as Ash. How they would have to code her.
Yeah.
It's not a separate animation set except for the run and the crawling under tables and stuff like that. Like that, I think that's just a leftover artifact of how they coded that section of the game, even though it was just that singular one section of the game, and I was honestly expecting to play as her again. But that was I would have liked to have suplexed to more people with Ashley.
Bottom line, I just want to kick ass with that.
Brass tacks, get down to it.
Yeah.
What happens after
or maybe it was like they were prototyping her as a second player or something, or I don't know.
Oh no,
maybe.
I just think
that would have been entertaining.
I just think that it just allows you to have options. I don't know.
Yeah.
In the next room, you go through another concrete hallway. There's 2 more regenerators. You take care of them. At the end, there's like a door where you have to pull a lever at the same time as Ashley. You know, pretty standard door stuff.
Standard door fare.
Finally,
Standard door gameplay.
Then finally, you get into a room that involves hopping onto a large bulldozer while Ashley just out of nowhere knows how to drive the damn thing and just says, "Leave it to me."
I didn't even blink.
I don't understand. I like how the fuck
I was
does
just
she
like,
just know
yeah,
to
fuck it.
operate this bull? I'm like, okay, sure, whatever.
I just didn't even care. I was like, yep,
At
sure,
this point,
she's driving.
At this point, like, yeah, you don't care. But the next set piece involves driving down a large transport / maintenance tunnel while you fend off hordes of ganados jumping onto the back of the vehicle. At one point, the bulldozer stops and you have to get out and flip a switch on top of some catwalks to bring the elevator so that dozer can go upwards. While you're doing that, you're fighting off enemies and defending Ashley from getting attacked by enemies jumping on the bulldozer. This part was really annoying. She died to me like 4 times because I'm stingy and I didn't give Ashley any fucking yellow herbs. So one fucking hit would kill her. So
Giving her 2 in the entirety of the game.
yeah. So
I gave her more than that because I usually had abundant healing items usually.
You some trucks also chase you. You shoot them, blow them up, and at one point there's another one that's like coming at you head on. Shoot that one, it crashes, and Ashley veers off to the side, crashing through a building, and then this is where you get off because the bulldozer's totaled.
The truck trying to ram you is the last part of the game where the TMP is useful. But it is very good there.
So I never got a TMP.
Me neither.
Literally refused to buy a rapid fire weapon in a game about slow measured individual shots. Literally refused to.
The only time...
And the game constantly gave me TMP ammo, and the only thing it did was make me mad. I'm like, give me rifle ammo.
Yeah.
Stop.
There's only one time. There's only one time I was like, I wish I had a TMP because there's like a future area where I was just running out of ammo. I was like, oh my God. And I was so low on ammo. And then I kept getting TMP ammo. I was like, fuck, I wish I had a TMP now. Just so I had some extra like ammo.
So I got the TMP, but it sounds like I traded that for not being able to get the striker upgrade at the end.
Okay, yeah.
Also, one thing that struck me about the scene was at the very end to get to the wall. Ashley operates the machinery in the front of the rig, and this like earth mover like demolisher rig that's up in the front of it. She operates it. Like it goes to smash in the wall. so it's like Ashley doesn't just know how to drive this thing. She knows how to fully operate this thing. Like taking corners, accelerating, decelerating, steering it, and operating the machinery in the front of it. Like, does Ashley have a heavy machinery license?
It's like riding a bike, dude.
Like, just like riding a bike. like this is a heavy diesel machine. These do not drive that. Like,
she is the president's daughter, and she needs to be trained how to operate the wrecking ball in the event that she needs to destroy the White House.
Like, just the implication of not only does she know how to do this, she's pretty good at it, makes me think she's had practice. And the idea of this random character being not just trained but proficient in heavy machinery sounds so entertaining.
She's just pissed off, dude. She's tired of being carried off and being a dead weight. So she's like, fuck this shit. I'm gonna do something.
I'm gonna learn how to do this.
So through the power of anger, she just learned how to fucking
they called me dead weight.
Yeah, dead weight. No.
So after finally crashing, you go through a door, you pass a merchant, and you come across Sadler again. This is the first time you come across him on the island, though. And he says that he can feel the parasite grow larger inside of them. Leon tries to rush him, but Sadler uses some sort of ability to...
But Leon forgets that he's in a cutscene, and Sadler is the most powerful being.
Yes, exactly. So Sadler uses some sort of ability that causes the parasite to induce a lot of pain in Leon, stopping him in his tracks. He then uses another power to have Ashley mind controlled and have her walk off with him. So it would seem that since she's further along in the process of the parasite taking over her body, it seems that he can use like some sort of ability to mind control it, whereas he can't do it to Leon yet. That's what I'm assuming. So as Ashley walks past Leon, who is still red in pain, he throws a small tracking beacon onto her back as they walk off, and this ends chapter 5-2. So that's a shorter chapter. And then
He doesn't use that staff for anything, does he?
No, it's
like
just
he doesn't like.
it's just a
it just
cool,
kind of squirms around.
disgusting staff.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
It's got plagas on it or something.
Whenever he agitates the plagas inside of Leon or Ashley, it starts like moving around like a fucking soul edge weapon. Like the eyes on it start blinking, and the little bits on it start squirming around.
Yeah,
soul edge is very apt, actually.
Yeah. All the fucking eyes.
Yeah.
But man, Sadler design wise is just kind of weird. He like it's just getting to him, cutscene, bleh, and then he moves on, and then we got to find him in the next place. But
I know.
The final in the fifth hour of the game is also where we find out what his fucking deal is. What is he fucking doing? And we find it on a note.
Yeah.
On the altar behind him.
Yep. So then you follow him. What is the note behind him? I can't remember. There's a bunch of them.
The note behind him is all right, boys.
Like a plan B thing, right?
Yeah. Like it was like, all right, guys, here's the plan. Huddle up and read a note. We're gonna take over people with Las Plagas. We're gonna get those people in the White House, and we're gonna get them to influence the president.
Oh, that's
we're
right.
Gonna control the United States. And if we can't control the United States, our plan B is to just invade the United States.
Pretty much. Yeah.
and coronavirus
and from
the
there
world.
This is a little bit ahead of its time. Capcom with really revolutionary writing. No thanks, bro. And after we influence the United States, if we can't influence the United States, we invade the United States, and after we do that, the rest of the world is just only a hop, skip, and a jump away. Yeah,
pretty much. The world is at our oyster.
So we find out what their fucking deal was, what the point of any of this was, except for why Ashley was involved. We find that out in a second, but
you find out Ashley was
you
find out Ashley was involved because the first thing that they wanted to do was infect Ashley and then take her back and bring her back to the United States. So then
she was
right.
So because obviously she's close to the president, stuff like that. So Leon begins. Yeah. What's up?
I'm talking about finding out how they got her, which is Krauser kidnapping her. I'm referring to the inciting incident, but I'm getting confused.
We'll get to Krauser.
We'll get to Krauser.
Leon begins to follow Sadler to get Ashley back, and then deals with more Granados on the way. Before fighting these enemies, you get a short cutscene with Ada and Krauser. It looks like they're in the radio tower that Leon can kind of stop by.
Yeah,
so it's that exact radio tower, I believe.
There are a couple of items in it, but you do not have to go there.
Yeah.
And for some reason, there is a merchant at the base of the tower.
Yeah.
Which makes me think something else might have originally been here. It might have been an alternate way forward. It might have been the top. It might have been a crane at some point when they modeled the tower, and they just changed it to a radio tower. When you get here, Leon is like, finally, a fucking radio. And he's like, hey, give me some backup. And nobody answers. And he's like, damn. And then you pick up the flash grenade from the table and the box of TMP ammo. And you just go back down.
Hell yeah, brother.
In the scene, you learn that they seem to know each other, and you put together that they're both working for Wesker. Krauser says that Sadler has a sample and that he seems to have sniffed out their little game. Krauser says that he and Wesker don't trust her and that he will kill her if she tries at everything. And then she obviously just shrugs it off, like she shrugs off everything. And then you go back to Leon. Leon eventually then comes across an open area with a bunch of catwalks and then a cutscene start, which is another favorite scene of mine in this entire game. I love this scene. It's the knife fight with Krauser, and you basically just duke it out with him, but with...
I died way too many times here. Way too many times. Really? I was pissed. I was like, oh, why? Why can't I just watch this as a normal cutscene?
It's an old video game. The quick time event in an old video game is so between iterations it'll switch. There's only 2 different prompts. It's L and R or it's X and A
Mm-hmm.
for me on an Xbox One controller. And it wasn't consistent. It would change it
Mm-hmm.
and it'd be really like, God damn it, I
Do
died.
you guys know how to?
I died a good two or
Do
three
you know how
times
to
in this
cheat the
fight.
system though, dude?
No,
How's
but
that?
The game doesn't register if you pressed any buttons wrong. So you can just spam left and
Oh.
right trigger and X and A all at the same time, and it'll just register it.
Oh my God.
I was afraid of
oh
that.
my God. You know what, dude? I played Spider-Man on PS4.
Uh-huh.
And there's an option to just straight up skip the QuickTime buttons, as in
Yeah.
it's just gonna play like a movie. The prompts won't come on screen, you won't see it. And there were a
Maybe
couple
we're
bits.
just spoiled.
There were a couple bits in the game where I'm watching him do some crazy shit in a cutscene. I'm just like, wow, that's probably a really fucking annoying QuickTime prompt. And watching someone else play it without those options on, there are a lot of fucking annoying QuickTime prompts in video games nowadays, and also here.
Maybe we're just spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's
Maybe.
all it is. Who
But
knows?
I love the cinematography of this scene. Like even this GIF that I have playing right now, I love that the slow pull out of the knife and the pan back, and you see Krauser standing up in the back. Oh, it's just so good. I love it. It's very well, like, I mean, I wouldn't say shot. Obviously, it's not a fucking like movie, but you know what I mean. Like the camera work
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
very good.
No. It's framing has to be taken into account, the position of the camera.
Uh-huh.
Like you use the word cinematography, and that's appropriate.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a movie, basically.
Yeah, and it's
And
just,
also showing how skilled Leon is. He's actually really handy with that knife.
Mhm.
Besides the like snap throw at Salazar, which with no time to line it up, just throwing it straight from the sheath,
Uh-huh.
really fucking difficult. And to show that that's how good he is with this knife, also in this cutscene, and then when you're in gameplay, taking out the knife and only being able to
yeah.
like that it's funny to me.
Back in the day when a lot of these games back in the day were very, separate from what you could do in gameplay and what you could do in
Yeah.
and what they could do in cutscenes. Kind
Yeah.
of like the I would use like cinematics for like World of Warcraft or some shit like that. It's just kind of like you're just suspending that disbelief
Yeah.
and kind of
Yeah,
going like,
yeah.
this is how the game plays, but in actuality, kind of like imagine it actually being like that in a way.
The world of the cutscenes and the world of the actual game are different.
Yeah, pretty much. So during the fight, they are constantly conversing. Leon puts together that Krauser is the one that kidnapped Ashley in the first place. Krauser did this because he needed Sadler's trust because, like Leon, he's American. Sadler obviously just doesn't trust Americans at all because obviously he's trying to take it over. At one point, Leon's on the floor. Well, Leon is obviously all pissed off because he feels like that Ashley getting involved in this whole ordeal just for something as trivial as that, just to earn someone's trust, is very frustrating. So, but then at one point, Krauser kicks him down to the floor, and Krauser lets slip all for Umbrella's sake. And then Leon looks confused because Umbrella is supposed to be gone. They're not supposed to be around anymore. So this is where you also find out that Umbrella is still around somewhere in the background, pretty much. And you can assume that Wesker has something to do with it.
So real quick,
because Wesker was name dropped in the bit in the radio tower, and also I feel like
when you first talk
to Ada,
yeah.
I think.
When does Wesker turn heel? Is it at the end of 1 or?
It's at the end of 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So he's kind of like been a bad guy for a while, but he's only been in the first game, I think. I don't know. There's a few other Resident Evil games besides the main lines. There's like Code Veronica, stuff like that. I don't know if he's ever in any of those, so I might be wrong, but
well, he comes back in 5 with the vengeance.
Oh yeah, definitely. Chris.
Snatching RPGs out of midair.
Yeah.
Good golly, Miss Molly.
The way they put him in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is so incredible. Mm-hmm. He's great. He's a really great character, the way they built him. Anyway, moving on.
So Krauser then jumps on top of him, and you have the whole thing where you're just spamming a button, and you have to keep him from stabbing you. It kind of changes it up. You have to like spam one button, and then it changes halfway through, and you have to change to that button. And then the knife gets shot out of his hand, and you see that it's Ada, and she says something about having the upper hand here. Oh, he always goes, "Well, looks like it's the bitch in the red dress."
Like, damn,
Damn, dude.
what the hell?
I mean, but like a lot about the way Ada's framed in this story is, hey, don't trust her.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Krauser is talking to Ada, saying, hey, just so you know, my expectation is that you're going to stab me in the ass the first chance you get, and I don't trust you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ada's like, well, that's your problem. And then Ada gets a chance to stab him in the ass, and she immediately stabs him in the ass. So it's like,
I know, very shortly after.
yeah. It's the story telling us, hey, don't trust her. Leon doesn't trust her either. Nobody in the story trusts her. She's just here to jump into a cutscene and help us occasionally.
Pretty much. Krauser then does like some superhuman leap into the fucking sky onto an upper
Like
catwalk.
literally like a 25 foot
and you're like
backwards vertical.
You're like, what the fuck?
with actually pretty impeccable form.
Yeah.
Now that I think about
it. Pretty much.
Because why not at this point?
Yeah, because he's a very talented gymnast.
So then after the scene, oh yeah, here's Ada, and then after the scene you get a call from. Oh yeah. Well, then Leon picks up Krauser's knife, and then if you guys noticed, you actually use Krauser's knife as your knife now.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and then who is it? Leon's asked Ada, maybe it's about time you start telling me why you're here, and then she says maybe some other time, and then jumps off another ledge, committing suicide for the third time.
Hey, maybe she has Krauser's 25-foot jump capabilities.
I know, right? So
it's a cutscene. Her powers are unlimited.
Yeah,
true.
You get a call from Sadler asking about how the reunion went, and then Sadler says that he should introduce you to it, and it should keep you company. So continue on. You get to a hallway with a bunch of lasers that you have to dodge. This is 100% a freaking like Resident Evil 1 movie reference.
Yeah.
So because the movie came out already before this game, so this is like 100% a reference to the movie, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, when I saw the long hallway, my brain was like, no. Could it?
Yeah.
And then just boing. I'm like, ugh!
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do some
all I
pretty
could
sick
think of
ass
was
fucking dodges. The dodge after this one, the GIF that I'm looking at, I was trying to find a GIF of it, but it's like you like back spring backwards and it comes flying towards you and you do a backflip through the fucking lasers.
This, like, you do this like 15-foot backflip. It's so crazy.
It's so sick.
like the acrobatics that Leon can do.
Yeah.
But we should have got that hit by the super extra, mega extra way he jumps out of windows.
Yeah.
Like I half expected to like jump out of the window and the Ganados around like pretty good.
Holding up scorecards 10 out of 10.
Yeah. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And then that one just gets headshot.
After this room, you end up in Sadler's throne room. You can kind of sit on his throne and get a funny little like kind of like little scene of him sitting there crossing his legs.
I have a screenshot of that I meant to show you. Yeah, I'll put it in screenshots. We have a place for that. Blam. This is the only screenshot I have, but I thought it was worth posting.
Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah, there's no time for resting. It's so
the pose he does.
There's also a moment like that in Resident Evil 5.
Is there?
Is there?
Yeah, I can't remember.
There's a bit where y'all are you're in a lab or something like that, and it's just like a lab chair.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a patient chair or something like that, and both Sheva and Chris can sit in it, and they'll do a little pose. Chris will talk about how there's no time for resting, and Sheva will kind of relax for a second and say they haven't had a chance to like stop sprinting since like the end of the first chapter or something like that.
That's
So
funny.
they both have different things to say about it.
Then let's see.
But I guess that's a callback to this moment.
I guess so.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a callback. Let's see. Behind the throne, you then go through an elevator that leads to some caves, and in these caves, you come across it. And fighting him, you fight him like on like some suspended fucking platforms, but
Yeah.
fuck
Some like
this motherfucker.
He chases you onto it.
Yeah. Well, he
Yeah,
knocks you off. You jump off and onto the platform or some shit, and then he jumps on with you.
Yeah.
But so here you have to like
This thing sucked.
Yeah, fuck this thing. He basically
Yeah, I was gonna
you
ask.
have to run around him shooting these green lights to drop the platforms and all that, and you have to do that 3 different times with more lights
Yeah.
each time. And then when you get to the
you
last
just have to
one,
dodge him the entire
yeah,
time.
like don't you should not be wasting any ammo on this guy around at this point. And then
Which is weird because okay, if you pop him in the head or something like that, can you stun him at all?
maybe I
Or
don't know. I didn't try shooting him
so
at all.
yeah, so what I ended up doing was I burned through more than 30 shotgun rounds because whenever he would jump down, I would shoot him twice and he would stagger.
Okay.
And that's what I used to get by him.
That's good.
And if I did that again, he would jump into the ceiling. So I could but if I shot him while he was in the stagger animation, it would take 2 more shots from a neutral position
Uh-huh.
to stagger him again.
Oh.
So there was some weird, like, not animation layering, but like what state he's in is kind of poorly communicated.
Yeah.
Like what damaging him in what state does what
Yeah.
was. I feel like they just had a cool monster design and just okay. So the some of my complaints of this encounter is this guy as an enemy seems really shallowly put together. Like he can grab you through walls, he can attack you through walls. His how he's communicated, like what he's doing, is kind of inconsistent and hard to tell.
He's got the same QTE stuff as the Verdugo did earlier in the game.
Where it's like if he's above you, you have to
You got to dodge.
LNR. Yeah, you have to dodge him because I'll try to grab you from the ceiling. And if he's on the same floor as you, but a little bit of ways away, there's a different quick time event for that. And if you're too close to him, he can grab you. And if you're too far away from him, he can grab you.
Yeah.
And like trying to think about, like in the other section of like, all right, he grabbed me. I am being punished. What am I being punished for? With this guy? No fucking clue.
Yeah. Because you're also just like in an enclosed space and like he'll just fucking
Yeah.
grab this shit
So
out of you.
like he takes up basically, like the model will take up basically the entire walkway. And when I knew that I had to get past him, and knowing that literally just trying to run past him, he would grab me or damage me every time.
Yeah, so
I'm like, okay,
him.
like I just had bad luck. I'm gonna get taxed 2 shotgun shells. But also just how big his model was, he took up the whole space. So when he landed in one of those hallways and I knew that I had to get past, I thought, all right, 4 shotgun shells to get him to get the fuck out of the way. So I ended up burning through tons and tons of ammo trying to do this section in the way that I thought I was supposed to. And I still failed out half the time because in the second section, after I pulled the door and it's all right, escape before the thing comes down, he would drop down in front of me. And I'm like, all right,
and then you have to get like,
4 shotgun,
can you
like,
move?
It's like, yeah, it's like, all right, 4 shotgun shells. But shit, I fucked it up. So now it's 5 shotgun shells and a little bit extra time. All right, he fucked off. I have 10 seconds left, and he would drop down in front of me in front of the door again. And all right, I guess I'm just gonna. And I fell. I'm like, all right, great.
You fell. Oh no.
So this guy, I'm back to coin flips where it feels like it's kind of hard to predict his behavior. And when I got mad at this game, it was because I felt like it was punishing me for something that wasn't my fault, or punishing me for something that like I had no reasonable way. This guy seems like he is made of things that are unreasonable to avoid.
He's I would definitely say he's definitely the hardest boss fight in the game.
Yeah.
Just because also he doesn't start out with that fucking like parasite thing on top of his back. That
Yeah.
like I think on like the third thing that you try to make fall, or maybe the second one, that thing bursts out. Oh yeah, it's like the second one. The second platform
So-
tournament, it bursts out of his back, and then it's like, oh, and that thing does a ridiculous amount of damage. It like
So what's weird for me is I don't think, was it the second one? I don't know why, but I don't remember that thing being a problem until I fought him the second time up on the cliff.
oh yeah,
I
definitely,
don't
yeah, definitely.
yeah. Because maybe I was just in go mode, that like I wasn't carefully examining him for extra limbs or extra heads or whatever. So I just like, all right, he's a pain in the ass. Let's just deal with this and let's just get this over with. I failed out of this section like I think 3 times total, but all of them were not dying to him. He took up 25 seconds of my 30 seconds.
Damn.
And I just didn't have the time to run.
I never really had an issue
and I just dropped.
with like
It's the weirdest
that's
thing.
so funny. When you're about to get the third platform drop, though, there's like a crane that drops down from seemingly nowhere.
Yeah.
And you jump across it onto the crane. The thing almost snaps you in half, but then it falls through the thing, and then you make your way forward. But as you're about to walk through another gate, the fall didn't kill him, and he's walking up the side of the cliff. And then you have to fight him in an open area. And I died here probably 6-7 times maybe, just because I think, I'm not sure how it is on normal, but I'm pretty sure I'd almost had my max health capped out at this point. Maybe I just needed like 2 more yellow herbs. And at this point, I'm pretty sure I would have full health, and he would do the snipping thing with the parasite on his back, and it kills you instantly, cuts you right in half.
Oh.
So I don't know if you guys ever died to it like that, but I died.
No, I did not.
I died to it a lot. Yeah. So I don't know if it's an insta kill on normal, but it is in professional.
On normal, I don't think it is. I think I got hit by it, but I didn't die to it.
You literally get cut in half, and it's pretty gnarly. So I died to that a lot because there was just one time. There's like one time I missed a QTE when he's under the ground and snipping up at you. I just missed one. I got cut out of that. But then there's other times where he goes to in kind of like a rage mode where he constantly lunges forward and snips, and you can't really do anything. You can't just stay there and just shoot at him because he'll just catch up to you and kill you. So you have to keep running away. But I mean, the boss arena is kind of big. There's a boulder in the middle. You can kind of run around to give you some space between them. And then there's also some gates that you can open and then close. And he just like can't get through the gate, and it allows you to dump a fuck ton of ammo into him. And there's not really any special thing you need to do to kill this guy. There's not like, oh, he staggers and you go up and like stab him with your knife. You just have to just keep dumping more and more ammo into him. He's basically just a bullet sponge. So basically just shoot the shit out of him until he fucking dies. That's basically the strategy here. The character's name, so his name's It technically, but his real name is referred to as U3. He's like an experiment. So the letter U and number 3, U3.
Got it.
That's like is what he's referred to as. So then you make your way outside, fight some more Ganados to get and then you fight some more Ganados and like kind of like on a cliffside with some tents. It kind of looks like this little compound. You go underground, go back up, and then you enter into another area that has some clay-looking ruins. It kind of looks like that architecture in that one like underground area near the minecart.
Yeah, the part with the minecart.
Yeah, and near the castle. So it kind of looks like that, but it's outside. It's a lot more abundant. It's a lot bigger structures, and this is where you come across Krauser once again. Now,
except he has lost his shirt.
Yes, he has lost his shirt, and he needs to show.
And he has found another knife.
Yeah, he needs to
evil
show
guile.
off his impeccable pecs. He also doesn't have that cut across his chest anymore. I mean, I guess it's kind of like a scar, but that looks like an old scar. But the cut that Leon got him, it's not there anymore. So that's kind of insight to what happens later.
Also, something I think I just noticed because I'm looking at the beret he has. the way the enemies are designed in a way that telegraphs, hey, these guys are more dangerous, these guys are more dangerous. Like the very beginning, you're fighting peasants. In the middle, you're fighting guys that will carry weapons more often. The guys in the castle, robes, shields, and weapons and stuff like that. And then these guys on the island will have helmets, flak vests, military fatigues. They'll have berets. They'll have RPGs. They'll have like stun batons. Even the crazy guys with the spiky gas masks. Like the game doesn't bring attention to it, but the way the enemies are designed, they are designed in a way that like the enemies you fight at the end and the enemies and at the beginning, not only are they're going to use different tactics, I think in a very subtle way, and they're going to have different equipment. You're going to have to deal with them slightly differently. They're also going to be you're going to be forced to deal with them in way bigger numbers, and it's communicated in the way the enemies are designed. The game doesn't bring attention to it. Now that I'm staring at this guy's beret, that like they're gonna have like regalia. They're gonna they're gonna be a little bit more like coordinated, but also kind of makes me wonder what military they're a part of.
Yeah,
because the minigun guy and they have like uniforms and the beret specifically makes me think like they like, are these members of like a Spanish militia or something like that have been Las Plagas and just, you know, they just go AWOL and live on Sadler's Island and be his private military force like that?
Well, I mean,
like,
technically, Krauser wouldn't be a part of that if that's what it was, though, because he is American.
No, because he's independent. So if he's wearing their beret, it's because he's probably considered an auxiliary. But just like that, I think is a bit of world building that I think was missing. Of like, all right, this is their plan to do this, and they were planning on doing that with Ashley, but they also have they've taken a decent bite out of 1980s like Spain because they have military members, they have skilled workers, they have an operation that's going, they are making things happen, and we don't get that, and we get not a whole lot. We get 6 Luis memos. I'm sorry, Lewis memos after he's gone, and we get a bunch of scenes with Sadler where he just, or your princess is in another off.
Your princess is in another castle. You cut it. You
like,
cut out when you said that. I wanted to.
Yeah. But it's like they're. I don't know if I'm just getting mad at the writing of a old game, but like there was interesting stuff to talk about, and not that the game wasn't interested in doing that, but
well,
the game chose to do other things.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like, when it comes to a Resident Evil 4 remake, because Krauser and Leon have history. And so, like, I didn't mention back in the knife fight that he does mention to Leon, he was like, I died in a crash 2 years ago. Is that what they told you? And so they obviously have some history. Leon knows who they are, and apparently they were like comrades at one point because like
the way Krauser is introduced, it's a big dramatic camera pan. He's supposed to be in an opposing force, and the game is treating him like he's a big deal.
Yeah.
But we have no idea who the fuck he is. I don't think he's even mentioned any like notes or any like anything like that, or any conversation.
Is he in any other game?
No. Up until this point, this is the only game he's been in. So that's why I'm hoping
this is his introduction.
That's why I'm hoping, like, when they have that Resident Evil 4 remake come out, I'm hoping they like flesh that out a bit more.
I bet there's going to be a Krauser section.
Yeah, I hope so.
Where you get to play as Krauser to set up.
That'd be sick.
It's probably going to be him kidnapping.
So
like, it might be him kidnapping Ashley. That's what I could see. But
funny enough, though, I think I could be wrong, but I think there is a Resident Evil game. It's one of the bad ones where it's a light gun shooter, and it's actually, well, I don't even know if it's light gun. I think it's just an on-rails shooter, and it's not even like you can't even use a light gun for it. That's why it's so fucking bad. But it explores the story of Leon and Krauser when they were comrades. So I think I
bet it's like a time crisis kind of
exactly.
shooter.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But you don't even have a fucking light gun. I don't know. It's bad. But that like they tried fleshing out the story in that, but the game wasn't received well, obviously. But yeah. Anyways, moving on. So from there, he tells you that there are 3 insignias, one in the north, one in the east. He has the third one, and then they duke it out, and you have to run around and collect these insignias while he ambushes you from time to time. And anytime you do like a certain amount of damage to him, he then throws a flash grenade, and you get flashed, and he disappears. You also.
I think this sequence is kind of the whole. I think this sequence in particular is what I would consider the real final boss of this game.
I love this
there's
part.
a lot
like
going
I
on.
said, like these last few chapters have some of my favorite moments in the game, and this is one of my the Krauser fight is one of my favorite sections in this game.
Yeah, that we up until this point we've never done this. We've never done a multi-stage boss fight versus a super powered human enemy.
Yeah. They're always
and
just
even when he goes like whenever he goes sicko mode at the end,
it's still
he's still
human.
He's still a human-sized superpowered enemy that I think
sicko mode.
Sicko mode. Yeah, that
I absorbed that for a hot second.
Let that marinate. That this fight was way more interesting. I had to use my noggin way more than like Salazar or Sadler or the Verdugo. Like this was interesting. They should have done more of these fights.
Yeah.
But we're armchair developing ancient game. Resident Evil 4 is fine. I like this fight.
Yeah.
Even if I feel like how you are supposed to beat him in the second half is not communicated, and you're just gonna headbutt the wall until you understand.
You mean what? The shield?
Yeah. Until you understand.
I did that too.
Hey,
I
Dingo,
felt so stupid.
Come on.
I
play the fucking game.
I didn't look
what
it up.
What are you doing?
I didn't look it up, but I felt really dumb. Like, why am I not doing anything here? And then
I did look it up, which is why the 2 messages in Discord are like the first message where I talk about Krauser, I spell his name wrong, and the second time I talk about Krauser, I spell his name right. I looked at him in between those 2 messages. And when I got to the point where just like, hey, dummy, just shoot him in the legs. He's only covering his
shoot him
half.
in the knees, idiot. It's like,
and I'm like,
dumb.
So I the first time I died because I just exploded. Like I literally like
the time ran out and exploded.
The time ran out and I just exploded and got a game over screen. And then the second time I spent all of my ammo trying to hit him in the head, literally every single shot, and I was down to my rifle. And I'm not fucking hitting him with the rifle. All right, he's just so fucking fast.
He's really fast.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would.
And then I blew up again. And then I looked it up and he's like, idiot, just shoot him in the legs. I'm like, oh. And then I killed him first try. And I don't think I even used a health item during that third fight.
Because at that point, you can kill him in like 5 seconds. And then the timer still keeps going. Because you still have to get to the part where you can disable the... Or I think they just blow up by themselves.
Yeah, just get through the door pretty much.
Yeah. Right. And then you hear an explosion and you can backtrack, but you can't go anywhere because the tower collapses behind you. But this fight was interesting. I had to looking back on it and like, hey, idiot, if you can't shoot him in the head, where do you shoot him?
I like this fight a lot. I like how it forces you to use the knife a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought it was thematically really cool.
Yeah, looking back on it, I am way more fond of this fight than I was during it. But I wish the game had done fights like this more often. But wishful thinking.
So I mean, as you can see, his right arm transformed. So it seems like he like took the plaga. It seems like, but of course he can control it. I don't know. But I'm not entirely sure if this is a plaga parasite or if it's a parasite that he got from Umbrella. I don't know.
So one of Lewis's memos talks about how when the Las Plagas gestates past a certain stage, it's kind of all expectations kind of go out the window, and the mutations that the host undergoes will be kind of random. But it'll also be kind of based on their own personality and their own, which is why like the Las Plagas that matures past a certain stage in like a normal everyday run of the mill people just kind of turn them into blobs and monsters and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that. But if someone's in really good shape or they are really good eyesight or any of that stuff, it kind of drives us up to 11. So um the Las Plagas that we've seen kind of go ham so far turned into blobby tentacle, like all that nasty stuff kind of monsters. This one, it's either, hey, Krauser's a knife man, his parasite is going to be a knife parasite, like that kind of fits thematically of he's way more of a close in your face. That's his philosophy and his design, so that's where his mutation is going to. Ooh, that's probably what they could have done. They could have had a squad of like 3 or 4, even like Krauser type people of their Las Plagas has a unique adaptation, and all of them require a one-on-one, intentional fight. But I'm just designing for my own purposes now. But
Metal Gear Rising, but Plagas.
yeah, Metal Gear Rising, but Plagas. So because we don't know what Umbrella is doing up to this point, and when you get the three MacGuffins to unlock the door to go forward, you have to fight Krauser for the last one, and that's when it explodes. Like his whole body doesn't turn into Las Plagas goop, so it makes me think it could be a unique parasite, but just the fact that we don't know about other parasites at this point, and especially contained in this game, makes me think it would be interesting if it was a non-Las Plagas parasite.
Well, because like
But
I feel like he wouldn't give it to Krauser yet because maybe he doesn't think he's like worthy of it. I don't know. But then again, he gives it to Leon though. So it's like, why would he give it to Leon but not Krauser? So I don't know. Like I couldn't find anything that like confirms that it's Las Plagas or another parasite.
Okay, so Las Plagas is used to make people subservient. It's like an insurance policy. If they live long enough, they will. So that makes me think Las Plagas isn't a reserved, only trusted people get it.
Yeah, true.
Because Leon gets Las Plagas the moment they bop him over the head. Same with Ashley. And Sadler treats it the entire time like it's only a matter of time. And he's right. Without the suppressant drugs that Lewis gives them, they probably would be goons at this point. So just for the tidiness of the writing, makes me think this is a Las Plagas parasite. But in the remake, it might be its own thing.
Who knows?
But basically, Krauser gets a lot of weight design-wise, and he gets a lot of weight kind of thematically in the way the game frames him, which is a shame that he's in so little of it.
Yeah, that's why I really hope they flesh it out more in the remake. It has a lot of potential.
Hey, there are always spin-offs. And by the way, the name of the rail shooter that he is in is called Resident Evil: The Dark Side Chronicles, and it was released for PS3 and the original Wii.
Okay, so then it might actually have, it has that light gun element then. What's what's the ratings on it?
On the Wii? Release date. All right, let me see. Come back to me.
Okay. So I remember fighting this guy back when I was young. And I remember going through my professional difficulty run for the very first time. And I, for the life of me, could not fucking beat this guy on professional. And then I looked up a guide. And I was like, how do you beat Krauser on professional? Because I could not do it. And then I found a forum, way back in fucking 2006, 2007. And they said...
yeah,
Krauser,
unearthing archives.
Krauser, and this is back when I was like in 4th, 5th grade, because I said Krauser is weak to knife attacks, and I was like, what? And so I have a video of me facing him. Keep in mind, this video starts with me already in the fight, but I assure you, it's like the very beginning of the fight, pretty much. I may have only knifed him.
The timer starts at 3 minutes.
I
So
may have only.
you are 30 seconds.
No,
into
yeah,
this
and
fight.
then when you fight him, it's already like the counter keeps going during the cutscene. So when you fight him, it's like 2 minutes 45 seconds, something like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, good point. Okay, so just because we lost a little bit of the thread on the plot recap, so let me just sum up. You get to this area, Krauser, he points you out for the one-on-one, and he says, "Hey, to get through this area, you need 3 things. The first one is over here." He tells you. The second one is over here, and I have the third one. And when you get the second one, he pounces on you for an actual 1v1. He's just harassing you up to this point. His arm explodes. He has whatever parasite he has, and then the camera pans to the base. He kind of locks you up onto this 2-platform little area connected by a bridge, and the camera pans down, and the base of both towers is surrounded by C4. Yep. We, as the player, understand and there's a timer on screen. The implication is, hey, you got to beat him in 3 minutes, or you go boom. And that's this fight. He gets a new moveset. You have to change how you fight him. There's a couple of pickup up on the top, but for all intents and purposes, this is just a straight up one-on-one.
And so when this clip starts, I'm in the menu and I'm healing myself because I got hit, but I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
I see you with no health.
I may have. I think I've only hit him maybe once or twice with the knife, maybe not even at all. I don't know, but like I said, you can see the timer. I'm not that far into the fight, so check it out.
Oh, just going for it.
And that's it, boys.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep.
That's man, that took me so many bullets.
I knew that was gonna disappoint you. So it's
like when you were recapping what was happening. And here you can pick up a shotgun for free. And I'm like, ugh. And here you can pick up a rocket launcher for free. Ugh. And here you can get a broken butterfly for free. Ugh.
Well, you really have to backtrack for that broken butterfly, though. That last one, to be fair.
I mean, but you can sell it for a free, like, 40 grand.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. Yeah, I don't want to think about it.
Yep. So, it's also kind of cool because that's not like, I don't think that's like a glitch or anything. I was like, oh, the knife does a lot of damage. No, I'm pretty sure that's specifically put in because it's very, I guess, thematic too. Like you're still knife fighting with him, and that's the thing. So that's the part that I think is kind of cool.
You do kind of have to time it correctly. If you're too slow, the animations will get you. If you're too slow, you'll have to the X and A prompt. He knocks you. He like sweeps your legs and he knocks you down. So like that's still
again or some shit. Yeah.
That's still really that's still a risky way to play it because not every animation he has a quick time prompt to avoid it. Some of them will just straight up hit you. So that's still a really dangerous way to play that fight. If you play it wrong, Ian did not play it wrong. By the way, I found it. Resident Evil: The Dark Side Chronicles has a 4.4 out of 5 on GameStop. A 75% on Metacritic. So apparently, not that bad.
I think there's a couple light shooters. So that maybe also, that one's not the bad one. I know there's a bad one.
It was when it was sold, it was bundled with the light gun adapter for the Wii. It was called the Zapper. So they bundled it with the hardware accessory on the Wii to make the game not only a game but fun. So it was basically a light gun shooter.
Then
because the Wii controller was weird but kind of innovative.
Yeah, definitely. That's why it sold so fucking much. So after you defeat him, you make your way down to the door. Continue on. Once you open the door, that ends chapter 5-3 of another very long chapter. Now on to 5-4. You get a call from Sadler thanking you for killing him because he didn't trust you or him. Well, sorry, he didn't trust Krauser because of course he said he's American, and he says that killing him has shown you are like basically worthy of basically being his bodyguard whenever his assimilation with the Plaga is complete. Then eventually you come across a large compound full of enemies, and the second chopper that was sent after the first one was shot down finally fucking arrives. The pilot's name is Mike, and he says he was late because of bad traffic. So the chopper knocks down a water tower and mows down some dudes. At one point, he shoots the water tower and explodes.
No. Okay, so the cutscene is there's a bunch of now we're in a military compound, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there are barriers, barbed wire, sandbag, barricades, like these are fortified positions.
Yes.
And this is when you get the call, like, "Hey, bud, what's up?" And they're all just milling around. They're not reacting to the helicopter.
I know.
arrives.
Yeah, they act. It seems like the helicopter
you
stealthily got up to him. Like,
yeah, putting the rotors in whisper mode, and the you just hear this metal groaning noise, and the camera pans up to Mike pushing the water tower, water tower with the nose of the helicopter, and he knocks it down, and it falls on a couple of goons, and then he
shoots it.
Yeah, and then he just starts mowing people down.
He shoots the water tower and it explodes. I'm not kidding.
Gas tower then, huh?
Yeah, it must have gas in it, hopefully.
They have no machinery. What are they? Why do they have a water tower full of gas? This is Capcom's gonna Capcom.
Yeah.
And you start fighting hordes of goons, but Mike is on air support.
Yes, exactly. I died at this part a few times because I was low on healing items.
Fighting Krauser took a ton of ammo, so there were a couple spots where I was just waiting because Mike will, he'll plug away at dudes around the arena, and occasionally he'll stick to you and shoot the people that are close to you.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a couple spots where I noticed him firing at a group of goons who were coming around the corner. And I would just wait for him to kill them so that I could take whatever they had, and I gradually restored my ammo.
The cutscene at the beginning where it shows like 80 dudes, I'm like, oh my fucking god. And then Mike shows up and in his helicopter, like, yeah, the might of the US military is coming in, baby. Yeah, this is great. Fuck yeah, this is awesome.
And the music in this area, the music in this area is like so like grandiose and like epic and all that. So
bombastic, one might say.
Yeah, basically. So I did die in this area a few times because enemies can flank you really easily. They spawn from weird areas.
There are a lot of paths around.
The chain gun dudes fucking do a lot of damage. There's a lot of fucking crossbow wielders, stun gun motherfuckers, or stun rod motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So you fight your way through a tower.
The game throws a lot of different goons at you.
Yeah. They throw a lot of fucking enemies at you. You go through a tower. Mike's blowing up shit. You fight another one of the Gatlin dudes again right before you open up a gate. And you head through the gate and you go through another smaller compound, but there's like 3 fucking chain gun turret dudes all firing at you at the same time. This area was fucking annoying too. I died a lot on this area as well, but just some dumb bullshit. To be honest, and there's like RPG dudes, and then you can't shoot the guys in the turret directly, at least from what I tried. You have to it blocks the bullet from, even though you're aiming right at their head, peeking over the gun. You have to get behind them somehow and shoot them. Really?
Because when they poke their heads up before they start firing, I was landing headshots with the rifle.
Okay, maybe like the time I tried, I just shot at the wrong moment, and so
because if you're, they have to already be pointing at you, because if they, and I think this might have been what happened with the goons behind the door that was just opening and closing really well, is there might have been a hitbox issue with the metal slats on top of the minigun, or the door of like the hitbox for the terrain is way wider than it looks like.
Yeah.
So that might have been the problem back there, and I think that's the problem with the chain gun. that way
So,
more often.
Not hitbox porn, you're saying.
The opposite of hitbox porn. I don't know what that would be. I'm gonna drop the bit before I think too hard about it.
I don't even know what y'all are even.
the-
What?
Hitbox porn is a term used for like, I see it a lot in Dark Souls videos where like an enemy like swings like, so like a boss has a huge like wide attack or something, and then your character dodges out of the way, but then you literally see like the sword, the big hand, anything just barely graze right over your character and it doesn't hit you because the hitboxes are really good.
Okay, got
And
it.
so that's
Yeah.
just like, it's called hitbox
Good
porn.
collision detection.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the one I remember was a really high def clip of someone playing Doom 20, and they fired a rocket at a knight, and the knight was in the middle of a punching animation, and you see the rocket. So it's like the knight has landed, his arm kind of forms a loop
Mm-hmm.
with his body,
right through
and the rocket goes through the loop without colliding.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, wow, that is a really detailed hitbox.
Yeah.
And that's hitbox porn.
Yeah.
But
I think the opposite is getting face stabbed by a spy about 3 times in a row in Team Fortress 2.
Yeah. Without hearing the bing.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Spy stabbing my shit. So I think that's what's happening with these guys. So this section honestly was kind of boring for me. It was a lot of like, the game has not done this up to this point.
No,
The game has not just.
This is one of the big climactic endings.
Yeah,
Of the game.
this is just a big corridor filled with goons, and there's a helicopter in the background. It might as well be playing fucking Jimi Hendrix's Star Spangled Banner, and
Clear one.
and there's
or
explosions,
or Fortunate Son.
Yeah,
Fortunate Son, or All Along the Watchtower, or Flight of the Valkyries. Like
Yeah.
this section felt like some sort of obligatory.
That just
We haven't given them a chance to just go ham. We should
yeah.
just to go ham.
Yeah.
Honestly, this section kind of lost me. And I was
great.
and I was just going through it, and then I don't know what it is about me, but this section kind of lost me, and I just got through it because I was like, all right, we're at the end of the game, last chapter, let's just go. But that also might have been because my game crashed when I finished it, and I'm like, I got to do this all over again. Going through it the second time was way faster because I didn't wait to refill my ammo. I just knew which dudes I needed to kill and which ones I didn't. I just got through it.
Playing the fucking soundtracks we were talking about, it just reminds me of anytime I play Warzone. And I'm playing with my buddies. Anytime when you win a match in Warzone, there's like, you see like there's a helicopter that flies in, and you get to see like your whole squad like rappel up a rope into the helicopter, and it shows like your whole squad, and it shows like the name, like the names under the squad mates in the helicopter as you fly off. And anytime me and my buddies win, I always like pull out my phone and start playing Fortunate Son on my on my phone.
Pretty good.
And it's funny because whenever it gets to the game ending screen where it shows you got first place, you can hear other people who are still playing or still spectating, so then they can hear you playing that song, which is funny.
It's great.
But I just wanted to share that. But you like this area, Ryan? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I thought it was really, really fun. It was a good moment of catharsis where you can just hang back and let the dude in the attack helicopter just mow everybody down. I really enjoyed it a lot.
I feel like there's a few times where it took way too long for Mike to even do anything in the helicopter at some points.
Sometimes.
Like I wish you were like fighting the goons on the ground, and then like some machine gun fire would just come in through and just mow the dudes down. But that
I'm not gonna give the entire
exactly
thing to you, but
yeah,
it helps a lot.
Yeah. So then you move on to the area of the 3 chain guns. Kill them, get through the door behind them. Then you come across a cliffside where you get surrounded by a shit ton of goons, and then Mike appears in the helicopter. You take cover. He mows down every single one of them. But then, unfortunately, Mike gets shot down by an RPG by Sadler and one of his goons, and you can see them walk off. in the
Fucking
distance.
ripping hell.
Yeah, and after once you gain control again, you can look down off the side of the cliff.
Oh.
They also say Leon goes like, thanks, like after we get out of this, I'm buying you a drink, and he's like, I know a good bar or something, and then he gets shot
Yeah,
down. It's
yeah,
like,
then
aw.
immediately. It's like,
I'm
God damn it.
So then eventually you move on, you come across like some more like kind of underground looking areas, and then you get a cutscene with Leon suffering from pains of the parasite again, and then Ada comes out of nowhere like she usually does every single time. And then Leon loses control and begins to choke her, because
I
like,
don't. This reminds me of The Last of Us. This specific, this over the shot.
This is definitely a place where you could overlay either the Sasuke getting choked or
Oh,
the or the hands with the monkey and the barber.
Oh yeah.
There are some overlay opportunities here.
Wait, are you talking about The Last of Us Part 2?
Yeah, The Last of Us Part
Are you
2.
talking about
where-
Abby and Ellie?
Yes.
You can even put like the Pope hands here, I think.
I really like the idea of
Pope
the
hands.
top the top
Oh my
of
God.
Ada. You could crop the top of the monkey getting the haircut on top of Ada's head. Oh my God. There's so much you can do here.
Yeah,
This is a great shot though.
Yeah.
Ada grabs like a little stiletto knife and then stabs him in the leg. He falls down. That makes him come to. Then he gets a handful of drugs and swallows it. It's the drugs that Lewis gave him.
Thanks.
Probably the second time in the game that he actually uses it.
This is the writer's telling us that the Las Plagas is getting worse and it might need to be dealt with.
Yeah, pretty much. So you then pass through a small jail area. It's where you come across your last regenerator in the game. He's just chilling in one of the cells. Before you go down the corridor cells, you can kind of find like this one like metal container, and there's like a bag, like a bloody bag inside of it, and it starts writhing around and like flopping about. There's like something in the bag, you don't know what it is. So it's just a little thing that you can find. It's not like anything crazy. Another encounter involves fighting more enemies in another compounds. You have to go across a bunch of catwalks. Basically, there's like a door. You have to flip 2 switches, but then once you try to flip the 2 switches, a Ganado takes out like a key card, disabling it. So you have to go find him, kill him while fighting all these Ganados, use the key card, flip the 2 switches back on, then go through a small door. I remember I was like, I got to this part, I was like, oh, fucking A, this part. Because it's just like that part in particular is where it definitely just starts to feel like, all right, now you're just throwing filler at me. Because, like, you know, we just finished this big-ass grandiose, you know, area with a helicopter and all that, so now you're just throwing more stuff at me. So I remember getting that part, and I was like, fucking A, I just want to get over this shit.
What specifically is happening here? I'm not sure I remember this.
There's just another compound that you come across. There's just a lot of there's a lot of enemies, and there's a lot of catwalks.
That's right. I think I know what this leads into, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So after that, you go into a concrete bunker area, and then you find Ashley in some sort of glass like container pod thing. Almost kind of looks like a cryo chamber, but it's not.
Right.
A cryo chamber.
Yes.
Yeah. So Sadler shows up and does a cool slide palm strike.
The 1-inch punch.
Yeah, he basically just slides across the fucking across the room and like palm strikes Leon in the chest and like sends him flying into the glass pod that Ashley's in.
Right.
But, like, wow, Sadler, it seems like you were capable of fighting.
I know, exactly.
Or to stop this way earlier.
He begins to try to mind control him or cause the pains in him again. We don't exactly know, but then Ada shows up from above a catwalk and just unloads a shit ton of like TMP ammo into him. Sadler then is able to push all the bullets through his body and then out his hands. And Leon grabs Ashley, escapes, and Ada blocks the escape route by shooting a bunch of like explosive barrels that are above it, it's keeping Sadler from following them. So then continuing on, Ashley and Leon fight through a couple people. Then they find the operating room where the machine is that removes the plaga. So Leon goes first, straps himself in. Ashley activates it, and these little lasers are shooting at him, blah blah blah, this and that. You find a Luis memo beforehand.
Yeah.
It talks about this machine. It's like some sort of special type of radiation that gets rid of it.
Harmless but painful.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. And so he obviously goes through some pain, but it gets rid of the plaga. He's good to go. Then Ashley goes, and then same thing goes for her. She gets rid of it and is now they are free of the plaga parasite finally. Then after a sweet moment of serenity, Leon says it's time to go home, ending chapter 4-4. And
5-4, I think.
5-4.
5-4?
5-4,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
And then it says next on like the loading screen, the title card, it says next chapter, the final chapter. So Leon and Ashley make their way outside, but Leon senses something isn't right. Oh yeah, there's her getting that shit removed from her. The noises she makes when getting this is very like can be taken out of context. Very
well,
very
allow me to
special noises.
ruin that for you immediately. She's voiced by Sandy Cheeks.
Yeah,
All right,
she is.
good. Horny be gone. Done.
Shit.
And then let's just say
Shit.
people could take these sound samples for other things.
I've never even heard
I
of
mean,
Source
we're-
Filmmaker.
We're 15 years late to that warning.
I don't know what Blender is. Don't ask me.
Oh no.
So Leon and Ashley make their way outside. Of course, Leon senses something's wrong, goes up an elevator, tells Ashley to stay behind. At the top, we find Ada tied up, and Sadler tries to mind control him, but it doesn't work because the plug is now gone. After Leon frees Ada, Sadler begins to laugh. Leon asks what's so funny, and I think I like this line by Sadler. He says, the American prevailing is such a cliche. No, the American prevailing is a cliche that only happens in your Hollywood movies. Mr. Kennedy, you entertain me. To show my appreciation, I'll help you awaken from this world of cliches. I don't know. I just like that line.
Isn't that the part? Wait, this is the final fight now,
This is
right?
the final fight, and
Yeah.
then he opens
immediately after that,
he opens
an
his
eyeball
giant
comes out
ass
of his
mouth.
fucking mouth.
Yeah, he
It's like, whoa.
Opens his giant ass mouth, revealing a big ass eyeball behind it. So,
Well, to be fair, I did not expect that.
yeah, in true Resident
right.
Evil fashion, he then proceeds to transform into some giant monstrosity. Basically, the monstrosity only comes out the neck of him. And then his body's just dangling around at the bottom, which is kind of like
weird old monster. Real quick though, before you get to that room,
Mm-hmm.
you have to get up an elevator to get there. Before the elevator room, if I remember correctly, there's just a room with a degenerator or a regenerator in it. Just one dude.
No, that's the one. It's a that was before the whole the plaga and everything. This is before you even get Ashley back. It's just a jail cell area. Yeah, I mentioned that area.
Yeah, it's weird. There's just one dude in there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. I just walked past him.
You just walked past and you're like, whatever, dude. Later.
Yeah, he was too slow. Anyway, we got this big fight with
Mhm.
all these eyes on these legs. This dude's got all sorts of pointy stuff coming off of him.
Oh yeah, and that face on the fucking thing is so funny looking. I don't know, just so funny. The smile. It reminds me of oh god. It reminds that you guys probably don't even know this. There's this PlayStation 1 Twisted Metal ripoff game called Rogue Trip. And I played a lot of Twisted Metal ripoff games. They're all really fun. There's one with Rogue Trip, and there's a character named Big Daddy, and that face kind of his face kind of looks like that face right there.
I see. I like how the Sadler body is no longer entirely necessary, even a little bit. Like,
yeah,
it's just kind of dangling there
It's just
in the
dangling
road.
there. It's funny, yeah. How'd this fight go
But
for you guys now then?
It was really easy. This boss is super
yeah.
easy.
Okay, so I think at the beginning of chapter 4, I bought an RPG.
Uh-huh.
And like, after the thing with the giants, I was like, all right, there needs to be an RPG in my inventory.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, okay, well, we have a little bit extra money. Let's just buy an RPG. Let's find a place let's move the fish. We'll find a place for in the case. And I just sat on it for the whole game.
Uh-huh.
And then I got here and I'm like, all right, I've literally sat on it the whole fucking time.
Time to
Now is
spend
the
all
time.
99 ethers.
Yeah, time to spend all of my resources. And I ended up trying to fight him conventionally. And then I noticed the big blinky panels. And I'm like, all right, probably a sign. Ran over there. Same thing with the trapdoor and the giants. The first prompt is to, get ready. And there's a second prompt to actually hit it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I probably just need to hit this guy. Cool. I hit him once.
Yeah,
I noticed the other blinky panel.
It swings a bunch of rebar, like steel
Like,
beam,
yeah.
and it hits him and
And
it
then-
opens them up.
And I got him, and I got the first time. I'm like, all right, sick. I went over to the other one. I hit him again. And then I'm like, all right, that's 2. And I ran to the other side. I hit him with the RPG. I got the cutscene. Throws me an RPG. And I hit him with the second RPG. And the fight was over. I'm like, great.
Mhm.
Good game.
I died a few times on this because I didn't have an RPG, and you have to. Again, I don't know if you guys saw this, but like a lot of bosses, when you stagger him, you can get a prompt if you walk up to him. So,
I did.
Yeah.
I totally did.
I did not.
Yeah, so you get a prompt, you knock him over, so you can stagger him in 3 different ways, or a few different ways. You can shoot an explosive barrel, staggers him. You can hit him with the steel beams. You can shoot the eyeballs on his legs,
That's what I did.
or you can also throw grenades at him. It's like a bunch of different ways you can make him stagger him. And
I probably did that too.
anytime he staggers, the eyeball opens and you can shoot the eyeball, or you can walk up and prompt and you jump on top of him and stab the eyeball with your knife. I just did that most of the time. I think there was on the time that I beat him, I think there's one time I shot it with a magnum because I was across the other way, because you can go on those platforms where they fall down and you have to jump and pull yourself up and all that.
They go up like a drawbridge.
Yeah. I bursted one of his eyeballs and he staggered across the other way, so I couldn't get to him, so I just shot the eyeball with a magnum, the one in his head. So that's the only time I shot him, but every other time I just stabbed it. And when you stab him, in order to get the cutscene with Ada throwing you the RPG, you have to stab him like 8 times. And so, again, there's only 2 explosive barrels. There's only 2 steel beams, so that's 4 free ones right there. I think I only had 1 explosive grenade, so that was 5. And then I had to... Oh, no, I had 2. So that's 6 downs right there. And then the other 2, I had to shoot the eyeballs. So I had to fucking stagger them 8 whole times in professional mode, at least. I don't know how many times you have to do it in fucking normal.
It's not 8 times.
Yeah.
But it's a good amount, maybe like 4 or 5.
Mhm.
I feel like I maybe launched 1 rebar at him. I remember that pretty specifically, but I did not use an RPG to stagger him. But I used the red one that Ada hands you to kill him.
Yeah. That's the only way to kill him, is you have to use that one. Kind of a cool little cutscene in cinematography when you do shoot that special RPG at him. It's just cool looking. So he finally dies, and you've defeated the final boss of the game. Leon then goes
But it's not over yet.
Yeah, then Leon goes to grab the sample, but then is held by gunpoint by Ada. That's Ada's secondary costume if you have the RPG.
Oh, yeah, that looked... I didn't recognize that, yeah.
That outfit is way more practical.
Yeah, right.
You like it?
Or if that had been her default outfit.
Yeah. But is held by gunpoint by Ada, like I said, and she asks him to, not asks, but hand over the sample, demands
I am no longer asking.
And Leon says stuff like, "You do know what this is," blah, 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 and then she just chuckles, and then oh yeah, you hear a helicopter. Leon looks behind him, gets distracted, then looks back, and Ada's already running away. Again, jumps off another ledge, committing suicide for the 5th time.
Falls directly into the helicopter rotor.
I know. And then, but then a helicopter pops up. She's inside the helicopter. How the fuck she got inside the helicopter? By jumping off the blades, by not jumping off
This
the
is
thing
the
without getting...
This is the only way Ada is alive.
Is what?
Right?
You cut out.
This is the only way that Ada is allowed to leave a scene.
I guess
She has
so.
to jump off of something, jump out of a window, explosion. She's not allowed to just walk away.
Yeah. Yeah. She
It's
also
about to
says
explode.
she'll take good care of the sample. She also tells Leon that he should get off the island as well, because then she presses a button on a thing and then a timer starts and you're like, "Oh shit, the island's about to blow up." And then I find it funny, Leon says she really pushed it. So I'm pretty sure he means like, "Oh damn, she pushed it," as in like to the next level. She was like, "Oh shit," like she means business. That's what he means. But it's funny that he says that because it sounds like he's just going, "Dang, she really pushed a button."
She actually pushed the button.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny. So then she throws you some jet ski keys with like a little teddy bear plushie on it, and he says like real cute. Then you grab Ashley, you make your way through some caves, find the jet ski, and you start zooming your way through a fucking like watery cave while everything's like blowing up and falling down around you. Eventually you find a hole in the side of the cliff. You take a big ass jump out into the ocean. Ashley falls off, but then gets picked back up. And then they kind of celebrate in a way where she says, "Mission accomplished," right? And he says, "Not yet. I have to get you back home first." Then they ride off. Here, Ashley tries to hit on Leon, asking about overtime.
About some overtime, yeah.
Then she gets rejected hard. And
This
then
is the progenitor of a very popular meme image, which has a hurtful word in it.
I know
let's
exactly.
say.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
mean.
but I think we all know what we're talking about.
Yeah. And then she asks about Ada, and Leon just says it's a part of me that he can't let go. And then they just ride off in the sunset. Mission accomplished, and the game ends.
They're going straight to New York from Spain. Nothing bad could ever happen.
Like when she handed him the keys, I was like, wait a second, she's talking about the speedboat, right? The little power boat.
And then it says jet ski keys.
Runs down, it's a jet ski. And I'm like, what happened to the power boat?
That is true.
Left the fucking
It's on the
power
other
boat?
side of the
That
island.
is true.
Oh,
I guess that's
okay.
true, yeah. That makes sense.
But yeah, they're just gonna ride that jet ski off into the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, judging
and
by
there's
6, Leon survived, so.
and then there's the call with your handler.
Oh yeah.
After that,
Yeah, we'll
right,
get
yeah.
to that in a
Like,
second. Yeah,
hey, yeah. But this bit was like, okay. The final fight with Sadler didn't die a single time.
Mm-hmm.
The jet ski part, I died multiple times. I literally
Yeah, I died a
died
couple
5 or
times.
6 times.
Those rocks
Like-
are really hard to make out as ramps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And when you
And-
miss one, you die.
I know.
yeah, and in the section where the water starts running, you have to hold the accelerator.
Yeah.
If you let go of the
It
accelerator
catches
for
up.
a second, you instantly die.
Mhm.
And a good amount of deaths in the game were just figuring out what the fuck the game wanted me to do. And that is one of the big ones. But it's the end, and restarting is instant. So
yeah, there
it
isn't
was
really a
like,
consequence for death.
yeah, it was me like, fuck you, game. Like, I want to see the credits. Like,
Mhm.
get me out of here. Like it's just trying to finish the game, and it didn't take super long.
So when you get into the credits, I'm playing it right now. These are the it just doesn't have the credits over it, but it does have a bunch of little like sketches. And if I don't know if did you guys look at these sketches at all?
Yeah, I thought it was weird that it was like presenting the village as this idyllic little place, and I'm just like, man, it was a horror show from minute one.
No, well, no, that's the point. It just shows
Yeah.
a normal ass village, and they're happy. There's children, and then right here,
And then religion comes
and
to
then
town.
this is probably Sadler. That kind of looks like the big cheese guy to the right, and then it shows basically it
they're
shows all. Basically, it just shows a little background of like what happened. See this scene right here. It shows a
what
dead
they're doing.
child in the chair because the childs don't survive the plagas. They couldn't. And then it shows someone going crazy, a family member, and then a plug, a parasite bursting out of like a villager's neck
Torso.
right there. So I just figure it's cool. Also, I mean, I really wish I could play the music, because the music in this whole area is actually really cool. The end credits music is I just love it, but of course we don't want to get fucking like copyrighted or some shit. So
Sure.
And then after that, you get another short conversation with Hunnigan at the very end. And that's a scene I'm going to show you guys later. But oh yeah, it's just Hunnigan, and you finally have a connection with her again. You're about to talk about this, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
And so
you finally have service.
Yeah, basically. And she has no glasses, and you're like, we finally got contact with you. And he says, I have the subject. We're returning home. And she's like, congratulations, you did it. And then he says, you look cute without glasses. And she goes, everyone's just horny at the end of this game. and and then she says, you're still on duty. And he was like, story of my life.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, okay.
Story of my life.
All right, guys. What'd you think?
I thought it's a very interesting experience.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a little dated, but I think back in the day when it came out, it must have been really incredible because, man, like, single player games were definitely the thing back then, but this was different and unique, and it was something that Capcom hadn't really made up to this sort of spectacle back in the day. Like, Resident Evil 3 was along the same lines of Resident Evil 2,
oh, yeah,
but this is a different experience entirely,
yeah.
I'd say.
What about you, Brian?
Man, there were high parts for me. There were low parts for me. All in all, I enjoyed the game a lot. I think me being a younger child, I don't think I would have enjoyed this game even a little bit. But this game, it taught me a decent amount from like a design perspective of like, hey, an enemy designed in this way will encourage the player to do this. And a lot of that was just playing the game consciously, of like seeing it as a conversation between me and the designers and the writers. And it was honestly really, really enlightening, and it was really entertaining, and the dialogue was pretty funny. It was also from this place of like, the first chapter is like, hey, take this game seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of it going, nah. and the way that was thoughtfully done, of like beginning serious, take it serious, and then at the end being, don't take it seriously. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just a game. That transition was really fun.
Here's a big fish that you got to spear. Here's here's this army man that you got to knife down. There's lots of really good individual pieces of that make it
Here's
good.
An Asian lady in a red dress. She's got exploding glasses.
She's gonna save your life, and then she's gonna betray you.
Then she's gonna save your life, and then she's gonna betray you. Here's a jet ski. Like, yeah,
lasers. Yeah,
the lasers. Here's a helicopter pilot. His name is Mike. He's dead. Shit. Like this, it's really entertaining. And even for an old game, it holds up a surprising amount. But part of that was just a suspension of the way modern games teach you to play is not the way Resident Evil 4 is kind of put together. Resident Evil 4 will absolutely put you in situations where you will fail if you don't get something.
Yeah.
And there's something refreshingly different about playing this kind of a game that I think, as much as it annoyed me in some parts, I think this game is definitely worth playing, and I feel good / better for having played it, rather than just always experiencing this game as an outsider. And
I am eager to see what the remake is like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we're still,
I am also eager to see what the
I hope
remake
to
is like.
still be doing this when the remake comes out, and then we can play it and then do another.
Oh,
Dude,
we could
I'm down,
we could
yeah.
definitely do.
that'd be super sick.
I will be excited to walk and shoot at the same time, dude.
No. They're not gonna let you do.
They will.
They let you do it in the remake of 2
Yeah.
and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they.
Yeah. You know what? Good point.
Yeah,
Good point,
they
good point.
will.
They're gonna have to rewrite the whole engine if you can't walk and shoot. That's not cost effective.
I mean, I've said it multiple times already. This is just one of my favorite games ever made. So, I did replay it last year, but I was more than happy to play it again this year. The game never gets old to me, but it was even better this time because I was actually get to play it alongside with you guys, some friends. So, yeah, just I love replaying this game, just seeing the influence it had on the games industry, basically, and all other, games after it that, adopted that over-the-shoulder third-person style shooting. And then, getting iterated upon even more and more, because even Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 5 came out with the PS3 and Xbox 360, and even that game, you still couldn't move and shoot at the same time, even in Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 6 was the first one you could do that, and so
Oh wow.
and then more games after Resident Evil 5 came out, which then finally iterated on being able to move and shoot. Maybe there's some other games that did it. I think Gears of War probably is a good indicator of that, but I do feel like it's a tad bit different. But yeah, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I've already said everything I can say about this game and why I love it so much and why so many people out there love it and regard it as one of the best games ever made. But I'm glad I was able to replay it and relive it with you guys and see your guys' first reaction to this game as well. So thank you.
Yeah, brother. Our pleasure. I think it was an experience we won't forget anytime soon.
We'll talk about more the game in just a second. I do want to I want to show you this. I think it'll work now.
Okay.
Okay, so I tried doing this glitch. This isn't me. This is an actual video off YouTube, I believe. I tried doing this glitch, but it didn't work because I didn't do it right. But it involves that Ditman glitch, the one with the striker, where you aim, equip something, and then you run really fast. So just you'll see. Just watch it. It's one of the funniest glitches in the game.
Oh, I see the animation speeding up.
He's gone. Yeah. Hold on. Keep playing it. Keep playing it. I gotta see this. Yeah. There it goes.
So good.
Oh man.
I love it. And then
So
what's up?
does that make you any faster? Or
No, I think once you actually get the thing, it
It's
resets.
cutscene weird.
But
Okay.
the cutscene, he just speeds off without Ashley.
Yeah, it scales his animations independently of Ashley's.
Oh my god,
That's very funny.
So fucking funny. And then also there was a video I wanted to show you guys last episode that I thought was really funny, but I didn't have time to put it on, so I have that video for you guys now. And this one, so this was in the big cave full of all the bugs. And I got ambushed hard, and I was trying to save ammo because I didn't have that much, and that's why there are so many of them, because I wasn't killing any of them. And this is what happened to me in this moment.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Bug City. Oh.
So I just thought that was funny because I didn't stand a chance. There's nothing I could do. I just got
Dude, straight up
gangbanged.
the enemies will buffer animations to perfectly catch you at the end of jumping down a ladder, getting to the top of a ladder,
Yeah.
opening a door. Like they will perfectly time animations to catch you at the end of it with no chance for a way out.
Yes.
You can
It's
definitely grief enemies in the same way though. Like
yeah.
you're climbing up ladder, shoot him once, and
Yeah.
then you just repeat. And I had ad nauseum.
I did
knife
dodge
'em.
Krauser a couple times by
Just climbing a
timing
ladder.
timing my animation to like as he's recovering from one. So like I wait until I see him jump
Mhm.
up a ladder to go down, and then he has to do the jumping down animation. So I'm you can take advantage of animations in the same way enemies can.
Mhm. All right, so now we can get on to discussing. All right, so this game, when you beat it, you unlock a lot of extras. And so from there, you unlock 2 different Ada missions and Mercenaries mode. So what I'd ask, we don't need to, but if you guys want to, we could also do another episode where we play through the Ada mission, which is Separate Ways. Separate Ways is you play through basically the main game. It's not the whole main game. It's separate. It only takes about 2 to 3 hours, basically just about what we usually played with our episodes. But you get to see Ada's side of the story. You get to play as Ada. You get a whole bevy of new like things to do. You can use her grappling gun, and you get to see how her story intertwines with Leon as you go through the main game pretty much. So that's like a cool thing because they make Ada a lot more like agile. She plays differently, so it's not just the same gameplay really. So we can play through that, and then that'd be like the mandatory thing to play through. And then you guys could just mess around if you want with the other Ada mission, which isn't necessary, or the Mercenaries mode, and then we can come back again in a week and talk about that as well.
Mm,
I think we're hesitant currently.
So
I think we might need a break
no
from
the,
video
from
game
Resident
stuff.
Evil.
So I'm completely fine if you guys don't want to move on with that. We can move on to something else. So now we could either talk about if we want to move on to another game, or if we just want to take like a week off and then we'll come back in about like 2 weeks about the next game that we play.
I think it would be good to take a week off.
Mhm.
I have ideas for games.
Me too.
But the only problem, so a game that I would consider for all of us that I figure is possible because of Steam is Metal Gear Rising.
Mm-hmm.
It is fun. It is fast. It is crazy. There's a lot going on. Another game I would recommend is, well, I don't know if we can all play this because I don't think we all have PlayStation 3s. Is Ratchet and Clank 2 Going Commando? That is
One of your favorite
one of
games,
one of my favorite PS2 games. My favorite PS2 game is Ratchet and Clank 3.
Up your
And
arsenal.
maybe we'll move on to that. Yeah, Up Your Arsenal is fantastic. It is so good.
Yeah.
But I think I would probably need to get Brian. I'd probably need to download it onto my PS3 and give that to Brian or something. Because you have a PS3, right, Ian?
I do not know.
No, you don't.
No.
I just have my PS4.
Yeah, I'll check if it's on PS4. I don't know if it is. Not loading that right now. But those are just suggestions.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about what we can. This episode's gone on very long now, so
yes, it is.
Yeah. So we can talk about it on our own time, and we'll whenever we decide on a new game, we'll like for Resident Evil, we'll upload a episode 0, basically on the game that we're playing next. But until next time, thank you guys for fucking playing through this game with me. I think it's super sick that I just had an idea. Granted, it's not an original idea. Some other people have done this too. But
original DOS.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, this sounds like a sick idea. And you guys like, let's fucking do it. And then I was like, all right, well, for the first one, we should do Resident Evil 4 and then you guys were just down and you guys went for it.
I definitely groaned on the inside, but I also understood that the point of the show and the point of the book club is to play games in genres or settings or franchises
Uh-huh.
that you may not have tried before.
Mhm.
The point being, get out of your comfort zone, play some new games. There's so many things video games can do. There's so many games that are easy to miss. Whether indie franchises, genres, like there's a lot to learn from the massive breadth of things that games can do.
Mhm.
And Resident Evil 4 is absolutely a game that I had not tried and honestly probably would not have played
Mhm.
if we hadn't have done this. And that's the spirit of it. And that was like when we're like, all right, Resident Evil 4. And I was like, but if the point of the show is that's one I would not have tried.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. And you know what? I feel good. I feel like my time with it was well spent.
Mhm.
I feel like my time with it was productive, conductive. I liked it.
Super glad to hear that.
Alright.
Is Ryan near his
so-
computer?
I'm on the other side of the
Oh.
now I am near the mic. I was on the other side of the room.
So I think that is a really interesting thing that this show can do is like, hey, get out of your comfort zone. Like you're just a Call of Duty guy, like play some story mode in StarCraft. Like just a fucking Candy Crush player, all right, play some Resident Evil. Like you're a racer guy, you know, play some Ratchet and Clank, play some platformers, play something that you're maybe not super attracted to in the beginning, because you might learn something, you might pick something up, you might have a good time. And that's I think it's a super good way to consume your media, of like, hey, your favorites are your favorites, don't knock that, but there are some gems out there that you are like, maybe some bad experience with the title at the beginning might have scared you off, and you should come back to it, and you should, or maybe try a different game or a different franchise, or to see what all the fuss is about. Like Resident Evil 4 is, I'm not going to say it's polarizing, but it's just, you like these games or you don't. And I didn't like these games, but I'm going to be way more willing to give other games in the same vein a shot because I sat down and got through Resident Evil 4. Like that's going to change the way I experience games
or
now.
even other Resident Evil games or something like that,
or even other Resident Evil games in general. That's part of the point.
Yeah.
Is there's so many things out there, there's so many different media, different games, that to say I play Apex and nothing else, or I play Peckle Knight 3 and nothing else, or I play Rocket League and nothing. Those are just 3 random examples. That, like, to say that is, you're missing out.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. And then obviously thank you to any listeners who stuck out with us through this whole thing. You might be a Resident Evil super fan as well, especially with Resident Evil 4. And I know, looking through and experiencing things that you love and know a lot about, and then seeing other people experience it for the first time is a very satisfying thing to do, whether it be like, you know, even like a lot of people talk shit like on reaction videos or something like on YouTube. Like, I'll fully admit I like them because there'll be people reacting to like you know, a hip hop head reacting to like a metal song to a band that I like, and it's just funny seeing that reaction. I love that stuff, and it's kind of like the same thing here. And so people who who listen to the podcast or watching it on YouTube, you know, that's why you watch this, because, you know, you get to see people or hear people about experiencing this game for the first time, and also me, someone who's played it thousands of times, also just talk about it more in depth. And so thank you to any listeners who stuck around to the end. And so now we'll be taking about a week off and then moving on to the next game. And so episode 0 we'll show what we're talking about. And then I haven't plugged anything in before in any of these episodes, so if there is anyone here, you can follow me at Dova Beats on Twitter, and I'll probably be posting something on Twitter about like the next game that's coming out whenever the episode or the next podcast is coming out on the next game that we are playing. So if you follow me there, then you'll keep up to date with us. So that's my plug for this entire podcast, pretty much. But until then, guys, thank you for sticking around with us, and we hope to see you guys on the next one. And we hope the next game that we play, you'll be interested in experiencing with us as well. So until next time, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.